What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 114. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Misa Jaja Binks.
Carlos Romero.
What up, everyone?
Brett Murdoch.
Brrr.
Brian Manjoma.
Hey, guys, what's up?
And joining us for the very first time on this show, Mr. Adam Vale.
I am the man in the high castle.
Yes. All right. No Chris action tonight because he forgot that he and Kristen had they had tickets to go see the Game Grumps. Apparently they're in Texas now. And I know Kristen's a big fan of those guys. I don't know what the fuck the Game Grumps are. Like, are they angry video game guys?
Well,
no
you know,
fucking idea what those guys
you know
are.
The way the Game Grumps started, it was like with that dude.
I don't know what the Game Grumps is.
Well, it started off with this guy Ego Raptor, right? Where he used to do these animated like show, like he did. You remember Metal Gear Awesome and all those other like awesome, like these little like the little video animated things about video games, which point out really stupid things about games and stuff. But eventually he stopped doing those sorts of animations and he started doing pretty much the beginnings of those guys yelling at video games and watching things. So it's literally that. It's just like they're sitting there and reacting to things.
So it's like a Mystery Science Theater type of thing?
Kind of like that. It's like,
so how do you like a show with that? Like, or like the people in the audience are going to watch something, then those guys react to whatever they're watching?
Yeah,
I think so. It's just like whatever they're watching or doing, it's just them doing whatever the hell they want.
Oh,
and they have a show.
That sounds amazing. How do I be part of that?
Yeah. There's a guy, Cole Cabana. He's an indie wrestler. He does $5 wrestling, and he travels all over the country besides wrestling, but he does these comedy shows, and that's what they do. They watch these really bad wrestling matches, and everyone just there and listens to them goof on it.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's their shtick. And
they've
made all kinds of money off of all that stuff. A lot of those other YouTubers, like there's another guy who also kind of spinned off from that show too. So that's the thing, dude. I don't know. I've seen the guy before at like E3 and shit. So he's kind of a big to do.
Also does Star Bomb.
Yeah, he does the Star Bomb, which is like those it's like parody music. Music about video games.
I'm not sure if it's parody music like that. That makes me think like Weird Al. Like it's original music. Like it's
but based on video games. It's like a rap song about Zelda and stuff
yeah. Like it's original music, but like the subject matter is always like Zelda or not just Zelda. I think there's one where like it's like a rap battle between Luigi and Mario about who gets to fuck the princess. There's one about the man who gives the sword to Link at the beginning of his journey, instead trying to get him to grab his dick. They're all really messed up in some way. There's one about Smash Brothers where like Luigi goes into like trauma, like everybody's murdering each other and having a great time, and Luigi like becomes unhinged. So they're all a little weird and comedic, but I'm a big fan of them. And the animation on them is always it's fun animation.
Yeah, he always gets some pretty good people to do them, like really good like animators and stuff to do that stuff. And then they also do what was it? I think Did You Know Gaming, and then the other one was something else, where they kind of tell you all these different things about video games. Like, hey, did you know that if you go here and you do this in this game, you can find this, or this is hidden inside the code,
By the way, speaking about things you may not know that one of the former presidents of Konami is now the president of Kojima Productions.
Yeah, boy.
This was
this IGN guy broke that. That's right.
Yeah, you're right. It was actually Kotaku. Kotaku broke this story.
Yeah.
Okay, so Manny, what did you discover the other night after Throwdown was over?
You guys know I stay up till the crack of dawn working on shit. So at the time, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take the time to update my my LinkedIn. So I'll add some credits, or now you can put pictures on your thing. So I start looking at my LinkedIn, and I looked in the they have a section called People You May Know. So I have a couple of people, like former Konami employees, a bunch of like people that are that work there and stuff like that. People I know, stuff like that. I have on my my list of connections. So what do I see? I see the president of Konami, the former president of Konami USA, and the former president of Konami Europe. But it says next to him, it says president of Kojima Productions. I'm like, hold up. I click on his name. It says, yeah, it says that he just got the job literally in November, and he's the president of Kojima Productions, and Kojima Productions had never made any sort of official announcement. What's crazy about this is this guy was literally the former president of Konami USA's digital entertainment department. He moved to Konami Europe, and then he was doing something else in Tokyo. So literally, this guy was like the president of two different branches of Konami, and they got this guy to be the president of Kojima Productions. Now, obviously, a bunch of people see this and they're like, "Oh, Kojima's like, he's shouldn't get anybody from Konami." I'm like, dude, you guys, it's like, guys, you realize that not everybody.
You're moving forward a little bit though. So basically, you found this out, right? You got it to Gary. You guys posted it. We were the first site, the coalition, the very first site to post this. Then obviously, since nobody discovered this, it just baffles me how Manny. He's not a fucking journalist. He's just an artist, right? He does something journalists, including me, slept on, right? So we get that shit out there, and then all these sites start covering it. Most of them. They credit us as they should have, but guess which site didn't credit us? The same site didn't credit me when I found out a big scoop 4 years ago. Kotaku.
Yep.
Fuck you, Kotaku.
But Kotaku's owned by IGN also.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They are.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No. Kotaku is Gawker, right? And IGN is Ziff Davis.
Yeah, and they bought them when Gawker.
No, they didn't.
They bought Gawker. They didn't buy Kotaku. Still independent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're still independent, but they're under the same bridge. I remember there was a big story that they posted about.
No. I know what you're talking about, but it never manifested that way. Understand? It like they bought just Gawker. They didn't buy. All that other. I don't even know if they actually bought them, because apparently, if you bought Gawker, you had to pay other legal bills, and nobody wanted to do that. But Kotaku, as always, doing shit like that. And then as soon as we found that out, we went on Twitter, we let all the fans know, and they changed that real quick. Kotaku changed that
literally quick. 2 seconds later, they're just like, whoa, oh, hey, whoa.
Because we started calling them out. We called out the writer, Jay Benson, I think his name was. We called him out. We don't fuck around here, man. I just literally laid what I call the passive aggressive version of things.
But where did he say he found it?
He didn't say their source. He didn't say the source, because he was probably trying to play it like, oh, hey, I looked on LinkedIn. Looked on LinkedIn. No, you did not.
Yeah, why didn't you look on LinkedIn yesterday or the day before or 2 months ago?
Yeah, he literally looked after everybody else we did it. Like, we posted that shit at like 4 a.m. in the morning. 5 a.m. in the morning. So there was nobody there.
But going back to what you were saying before, because after we posted the story, people were going, why would Kojima pick somebody, a former Konami executive? And the answer is actually very simple. Manny, why did he pick this guy?
Why do you think? Okay, number one, as a creative person, running a business and being creative are two different parts of your head. You're gonna need, if he's gonna be a person that's going to be, creating games, it's going to be difficult to do both. So you hire somebody who's going to just handle the day-to-day stuff, keeping the lights on, paying the bills, hiring people, so you can be free to do the creative things that you need to do. Obviously, he's probably has some sort of connection to this guy. I mean, I've heard a couple of people that I know who worked under this guy who no longer work at Konami. They're like, no, this dude's was actually a really awesome dude. He was really forward thinking, and it's definitely part of the reason why Kojima probably picked this dude. So, I mean, the thing is that here's the thing about any company. Everybody thinks that certain companies are evil, and everybody's at the companies all rubbing their hands together like they're fucking supervillains. But to be honest, it's not like that. You as a if you're working at a place, a lot of times you don't have a choice as to the direction that your company is going. I'm sure a bunch of people at Konami just hate hate what they're doing right now, but
it's
they have nowhere.
Culture. Yeah, and they don't talk about that.
But you have nowhere to go. It's like you need to pay the bills. It's like what obviously you don't believe in what they're doing. You still need to pay the bills. You don't have the luxury of like somebody like a Kojima who could just walk out and then fucking Sony throws them a contract,
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to sit there. So like again, there's plenty of talented people who probably don't believe in the direction that the company is going. And Kojima's like, okay, I know this guy. He has good reputation. I'm gonna pick him up, and he's not the only one. He's picked up a lot of his former employees. If you look at if you look at a lot of the other people that are at at Kojima Productions, a lot of former freaking Konami people from Team Silent, people from the original Kojima Productions. All these guys, he's literally building mother base. He's filtering out all the good people.
This has happened before in other industries. Remember Infinity Ward with the whole issue that they had with Activision, and then the two main guys in Infinity Ward left, and then a bunch of other developers, artists and stuff started leaving, and then they started Respawn.
Yep, they respawned.
That was it. That's where that came from.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you a big props on that one, man. He discovering something that professional journalists didn't.
Well, the thing is, it's like you even said at the time yourself. It's like you're surprised Giuseppe didn't find it, because he's usually skulking around on there.
Yeah, but there you go, man.
I feel like if I didn't find it, somebody would have probably bumped into it later on. But here's the interesting thing. After all this news came out, Kojima Productions has still yet to say any official word. I mean, granted, it's on this guy's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it's there for everybody to see, but they haven't said anything about it. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, we may or may not have other sources confirm this to us. Can't say, obviously, but this is pretty much in the bag. But at the same time, it is interesting that Kojima hasn't said anything. Very interesting.
Actually, a friend of mine who from the Konami Europe, who used to do stuff there, he works at 2K now. He's literally, I was literally being coy at one point. I'm like, it's like, I wonder what happened to this guy, because this guy used to host the E3 press conferences that Konami used to do. You remember those things, those pre-recorded things? He did like the one in 2011 where they introduced the Fox engine and all that stuff. So I'm like, hey, what happened to this guy? And then literally my buddy jumps in. He goes, oh yeah, he's working at Kojima Productions. He's the president. And I'm like, way to go, man. I was trying to be coy and stealthy to try to get this one in. And he's like, oh, I didn't get that. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the source I was referring to.
He literally blatantly said it right on Twitter. So I'm like, all right. So this is an official confirmation. So that's why I contacted after that point I contacted Gary, because he's like the only guy up. He's obviously, it's like it's 4 a.m. here. It's like 9 a.m. over there. So I'm like, hey, Gary, I'm like, I just found out something kind of crazy. And the one guy, confirmed it, who used to work at Konami. So let's put this out, we can put this out. And I'm like, he's like, do you think it might be news? I'm like, I don't mean, it's up to you. It's all up to you if you think this is newsworthy. But I think it's very interesting that it's a former president of Konami being the president of Kojima Productions. And that's pretty much was. And it blew up all over the place.
Yeah, N4G, NeoGAF.
Did it blow up on the site? The site.
Oh yeah.
Usually if you say Kojima Productions president, the first thing you see is the coalition, and then you see NeoGAF, and then you see the other stuff.
Blowing it up. All right, so good job on that one. So
reminds you of remember that thing, Manny, with the Gears doll that you made?
Oh yeah.
Money, and it posted on, and they went everywhere, and then we got that cease and desist.
Yeah, I got a cease and desist from Epic Games saying that because I literally made this toy look almost like an official piece of product, and they literally sent me the Epic Games lawyer sent me a cease and desist. After that, what happened was I at that point I literally just sent the thing to Kotaku and explained a little bit about it, and that exploded.
Yeah, it went everywhere.
Literally, like, I don't know, maybe a week or two later, friggin' Epic Games sends me a friggin' they send out a public apology, and they're like, we obviously need to look into this fan things and all kinds of other stuff. And it was all closed up.
At no point did you say it was for sale. That was the thing. It's like you just
I never said it was for sale. I just put up the process of me creating it. I took a whole bunch of pictures of me making it and stuff like that. And at no point did I say I was never going to make it for sale. And being that I work in the industry, I said, well, I know that, I got offers. Like people like, oh my God, I want you to make me one too. I'm like, dude, this is something you just made for my cousin. He's the only one that's getting it. That's the only thing out there. But for some reason, the Epic Games lawyers assumed that I was doing it, and I was actually wasn't the only one to get a cease and desist from that situation either. There were guys painting like Gears of War murals on their ceilings and showing the process, and they got a cease and desist. Some guy was making one of the guns in the game, and they got a cease and desist.
They told me to take off my tattoo. They were like, "You gotta get rid of that."
Yeah, because for some, I mean, obviously for Epic Games, the Gears of War, like the response to Gears of War is bigger than any of the things that they have ever done.
I think I have it here.
Better than Unreal, any of that stuff. So what happened is like all these people, the lawyers, are just being sensitive and just throwing cease and desists everywhere at everybody. So yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Questions. So the first two are from JK Livewire. These are leftovers from last week because he asked them too late.
Here we go.
Oh, what's up, Adam? Before we start, what is this?
That's the Gears. That's the famous Gears of money. Yeah.
Nice.
This is the money.
I did up the box to make it look all official and shit. And yeah,
that's pretty awesome. All right, let's get into it. So the first question is, do you guys think Kojima is planning something big for Death Stranding? Because he loves to mess with you and make you think he's doing this when he's actually doing that, like the fake Moby Dick studio from the Phantom Pain. I don't expect something crazy like that this time around because this is a brand new game, brand new studio. So I don't think he's trying to mess with people on the PR's front this time. I mean, if he was going to do something like that, it would have already happened, right? He seems to be doing it more straight this time around. So I don't expect any craziness. Maybe for the second game, you might see some Kojima madness, but PR shit, I don't
think any of what he's shown is going to be in the game. I think it's just all like,
yeah, but we're talking about ideas with the fake studio, the game. Like, what is that game? Moby Dick and all that other shit. Like, I don't see anything like that happening.
Well, he was because he was playing with the expectations because he wanted to announce the game, but he couldn't announce the game.
Yeah, Joaquin Mordrin, remember?
Yeah, with the fake studio and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think he's going studios.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play any of that sort of stuff anymore. Like at least for this round, I think the big thing now is just kind of figuring out what the game is. He's saying it's open world. He's saying it's all these different things. And I think that's the figuring out the mystery of what Death Stranding is now what he's kind of harping on right now. Like if you watched the first trailer, like it's just a naked guy in some fucking it's literally like watching one of those like experimental films. It's like watching the Ring video. You know what I mean? It's like that. It just doesn't make any sort of sense. It has a semi-narrative or doesn't. It doesn't, the second trailer is a lot more straightforward, but it's weird as fuck. There's like living tanks and fucking upside down rainbows, it's just nuts. So I think one of the things about why he's creating these sorts of mysterious trailers is because it gets people interested. People like a mystery and like trying to figure out, find hidden things. It gets them talking, but that's also really good because he doesn't need to drop, the people analyzing it continues to happen, and it kind of keeps it rolling, and he doesn't need to show up as much and be like, hey, I'm working on this game. So I mean, there's only been like 2 trailers, but I wonder if he's going to keep doing that, keep on releasing trailers.
Here's a question I have for you guys. When do you guys like? I know we've talked about this about when this game might actually come into fruition, but like if you watched Kojima's timeline in Twitter, that dude is always doing like weird stuff. Like he's always like visiting people, like like he's watching, like he's always has like a movie review like every other day. So I'm like how does he find the time to actually work on the game? Yeah.
Well, what's happening a lot right now is literally they're kind of building the, adding to the engine and doing all kinds of character designs. They haven't officially, at least from what I know, they haven't officially started working on the actual game. They're just kind of getting the systems together.
Mm-hmm.
a lot. I mean, that's a lot of times like that's exactly kind of what happened with the game with the new Shenmue. They're like everybody's saying like pre-production is done. Like that's what they said. They left a little message saying that pre-production is done. But so they're like, oh yeah, so that means the game's, they're going to be they're actually now going to be creating the actual game.
I have a feeling that game's going to come out around the same time The Last of Us Part 2 comes out, and that's like at least 2 years out.
Yeah, I think it's kind of far away. I think the timetable might be a little shorter because they're not fucking developing their own goddamn engine. They're just using the Guerrilla Games engine, but it's still going to be far out. We're not going to see anything for a while. But hey, they can make a bunch of pretty looking trailers and cinematics right now.
As long as it doesn't end up being The Last Guardian, like 10 years, like, oh
no, I don't think so. Here, listen, the Last Guardian, when the time that Last Guardian came out, there was literally 2 Metal Gear releases within that time, the time frame. When did Last Guardian get announced?
2006.
It was 2006?
Yeah,
seriously?
it was around the time that the 360 got announced, and they're like, oh, well, PS3's getting this awesome game. And
oh, okay. So, yeah. So, there's been like 3 Metal Gears, I think. I want to say.
Plus, if you count all the PSP versions.
Yeah, the PSP versions and the transferring and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Tony, you are muted. Unmute yourself.
My bad, because I'm typing here because we got a lot of extra questions here from the chat. Quick shout out to my man Big Daddy X and Che Fergus, who I believe is a first timer here. I could be wrong about that.
He could be hiding under an alias.
Yeah. Can't tell if Che is a man or a woman. So I don't know. But thank you for being on. We'll answer your questions later because, first come, first serve here. All right, next question. I feel like Kojima shouldn't have made this is an interesting one. He goes, I feel like Kojima shouldn't have made the Phantom Pain, but instead have remade Peace Walker with the amazing Fox engine. I know most people didn't even play Peace Walker, but I believe it had the better story and Phantom Pain had the better gameplay. Here's the thing. You're assuming that Kojima had control over this.
Yeah.
Why do you think Kojima made so many Metal Gear games? Every Metal Gear game that came out, he's like, this is my last one, this is my last one. And another one came out. Why? Because Konami needed another one. So you can't really assume that he wanted. I mean, I'm pretty sure he did want to make it, but it was more Konami going, you're making this game now. Plus nobody was asking for Peace Walker remake.
People enjoyed Peace Walker in the Vita. Was it Vita or PSP?
It was PSP, but it was great to play on a Vita because then you can map the extra thumbstick, so then you could finally move as opposed to using the D-pad that you had to use for the PSP. So that was it.
Oh, by the way, okay, so Che goes, she is a woman and it is her first time. Sweet.
Yay, awesome.
We love newcomers here. All right. But yeah, like it would be cool if we get a Peace Walker remake, because I do think Peace Walker is a better game than Phantom Pain, but nah, man. That's like a pipe dream right there, And as far as the Phantom Pain goes, it was gonna happen regardless, because Konami can't go, no, I don't want to work on that.
The Konami guys are just like, oh, you don't want to work on it, but you're gonna make it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This guy made 50 million Metal Gear games after he kept saying, I'm done.
Like he tried, like Metal Gear Solid 3 wasn't supposed to be him, but he started seeing that
Peace Walker wasn't supposed to be him either.
No, it wasn't supposed to be him either. And then everybody forgets about the Metal Gear Revengeance. Metal Gear Solid was it Metal Gear Solid Rising?
Yeah, Rising.
That debacle where they literally were trying to develop that game at the same time as Peace Walker, and they couldn't figure it out, so they had to give it over to Platinum Games.
It wasn't because the second Metal Gear 2, when that came out, bombed. It was horrible. So then they were like, all right, we need you to jump back in on this.
No, it did well, actually.
That one did well. The side scroller, remember that was?
Oh no. Metal Gear 2. Snake's Revenge.
Oh, he's going back.
That doesn't even count.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I
remember you're talking about Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm like on the PS2.
No.
Metal Gear 2. Snake's Revenge. The thing about that killed the original Metal Gear franchise within the United States. That's why
So
it just kind of everybody pretty much forgot about it because that game was so fucking horrible.
yeah.
And it wasn't even a Kojima game, you know.
It wasn't even a
was-
Kojima game.
Yeah,
The
that's what I
funny
was
thing
saying.
is,
It wasn't a Kojima game.
The funny thing about that game is it also was made before Kojima actually made a real sequel to Metal Gear.
Yeah, the
At the
real
time,
Metal Gear sequel.
At the time,
yeah.
the guy was creating it, he's like, listen, you should seriously make a sequel to Metal Gear. It'd be awesome. And he's like, I'm working on one right now, by the way. So yeah, I that's what killed it in the United States. It was still like viable in Japan because they had a good Metal Gear 2.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. That he says some comments. I'm gonna kind of skip around these. So he goes, "Sorry for sending my questions in late last week. I don't have internet at the moment. Well, I haven't had internet for 2 years. LOL. I usually go to my grandpa's house or brother's on the weekend to use my laptop or play games. So his next questions, the fresh questions are, okay, scariest games you guys ever played and still haven't finished yet. Me, Silent Hill 4, The Room. I played that game when I was little and it terrified me because you couldn't kill the main monsters and they would come through the walls. Since I'm older now, I can probably finish that game, man. All right, so scariest game, Adam, what's the scariest game you ever played that you couldn't finish? You didn't finish.
I did not finish that shit. The Suffering. Anybody ever play that? That was on the original Xbox.
I remember that.
I'm sure that was on PS2.
Is that the one in the insane asylum?
Yes. That's
I remember
the one
that.
where the front cover shows a guy like in an electric chair or something. But man, the sounds. Same thing. I'm playing with a headset, and I'm playing along. And there was this one scene where you walk into a room, and you see like an electric chair, and you see all this stuff, and you see like a monitor, and you look. You can just focus view on things. And I focus view on a monitor, and you see somebody walking up behind you, and I get out and he's not there. And there was a lot of that happening, and a lot of different sounds and screams. And the worst part is, you have a flashlight, but you had only a certain amount of batteries and they would run out pretty fast. So you would have to pretty much use it whenever you really, really needed to see, and then try to find more batteries. It got to a point I was like, I can't do this shit anymore. Because I ran out of batteries. There was one part, it was super dark. I was somewhere in one of the basements or something, ran out of batteries and not know where to go. I'm running around in the dark, bumping into things. I'm like, I can't play this, forget it. And you're hearing all these crazy sounds. So you hear, I was like, I'm done.
All right. Brett, what about you? Scariest game that you couldn't finish because it was so damn scary?
I'm trying to think. Like, I know I tapped out of Alien Isolation. But that might not necessarily be a reflection on the game as much as it is me. For those of you who don't know, I was fighting cancer with my wife at the time. And since then, and since I lost her, like, I'll be honest, I've found myself super sensitive to games. Like, if it is like horror inducing or tragic or sad, I'm like, fuck that. I have enough of that. Like, the most hardcore thing I've been able to play lately is like Final Fantasy, and that is far from like hardcore or scary or tense. I probably would have trouble approaching a new Dark Souls at this point, just to put it all into perspective. So I'm sitting there trying to think of old games that I played, and I would probably say, I don't know if I would have finished Eternal Darkness if I had to play it alone in the dark, but luckily I was playing with a buddy, so that helps stave off some of the weird psychosis that comes with that game. But I would say Eternal Darkness was a great game for really messing with your head. Like, it would do things like slowly shrink your character, slowly warp the levels in subtle fashion so that you not really know what's going on, or for the first 45 seconds you'd be like, is everything getting bigger, or am I getting smaller? Or you'll like slowly walk and you'll find yourself like start to sink into the level, and then like you'll flash back and you'll be at the beginning of the last room, and that's all well and good. They're fucking with you in game until they start doing things like flashing blue screens of death at you randomly. Like, an error has occurred, please close this program. And you're like, oh, what the shit? And then 5 seconds later, it jumps back into the gameplay. Or there was one time in which we were fighting a boss. Like halfway through the boss, it faded out and like went. Thanks for playing Eternal Darkness 2. Keep an eye out, or Eternal Darkness. Keep an eye out for Eternal Darkness 2 due this fall. And we're like, wait, what? What just? Oh, okay. And we set the controller down, and like started to get up to get a snack, and then like it suddenly jumped back in the middle of the boss battle. My buddy's like, "Holy shit!" And, like leaps across the room, grabs the controller, and dives back into the boss battle. So the game was really good at like making you not sure that your PlayStation was working. It would put the TV on mute randomly. It would like flicker the TV on mute. Because I remember being like, dude, does your TV say mute in big green letters on the top left? He's like, no, it's mine says it in little red letters on the top right. I was like, oh, that tricky game. So it made it sound like the sound was cutting out, or the video was cutting out, or something was wrong with your PlayStation.
Dude, that's some like Psycho Mantis type shit.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that was a GameCube game.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. Like
Metal Gear.
Yeah, like playing with scaring you outside of the game, like essentially just doing the unthinkable, like fake deleting your data, right?
Remember X-Men on Genesis? It's like I didn't beat the game for months because there's one part after you beat stage 5. It's like you need to reset the system to get to the next level. I'm like, I'm not resetting this shit. I just made all this progress, but you needed to reset the actual console in order to get to the final level. I'm like, why? I don't know. But I got so frustrated. I'm like, you know what? Let me just reset it. I have nothing else to lose. I've been restarting this shit anyway. Oh shit. It's the rest of the game. Crazy shit, you know?
It's funky shit like that. I think that's the ones that really fuck you over, because it literally blurs the line of games. It's like it's literally playing against your the things that you know are supposed to, things that are in the real world, like fake muting your TV and doing all kinds of other things. Reading your fucking memory card.
Yeah. Remember in X-Men, what happened was the holodeck, the danger room went blitz or crazy, right? So when you beat the 5th level, in order to reset the danger room and get back to the real world, you had to reset the system. Like, crazy shit, man. Right? Brian, man, what about you? What's the scariest game you never finished? Brian, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Yeah, scariest game is Fear by far. Still have not finished that game yet. It's been, I think, like 5 years since I started it, but since then I just been like, nope, I'm good. I don't need any of armor in my life. I'll just chill.
Fear.
I think I'm like 2 hours in, and I've seen it like twice. It was like just after the part where like you see her on the stairs, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm good. I'll just watch a review online, or read the wiki story, and I'll be good.
All right, go ahead, mate.
Might as well go. For me, it's interesting. I've never had. I don't play too many horror games, to be honest, and there's nothing I haven't actually been able to not play. Like maybe the original Resident Evil, but I eventually went back. And the thing about the sequel Resident Evils, I always was with Adam. Like we were kind of taking turns on those. Like we beat Resident Evil 2 and 3 together.
Yeah. We tag team those things. All right, you take this part. All right, I'll take this part.
Yeah, it's like sometimes Adam would leave me with the fucked up parts. It's like in Resident Evil 3, it'd be like a fucking alligator part where it's in the
oh my god,
down the hallway.
Yeah. All right, this shouldn't be there. Here, you play this shit.
I always got the dog part in the first Resident Evil with my buddy Kyle. Every time I was like, why? I know they're coming through that window. Okay, but this leads me actually to a good question. Like, are we only considering horror, action horror games, but like, or are we considering all genre of games? Because like, I don't know. I've never until I've become like a big garbage softie, I never really like tapped out of a game before. I never really been like, oh, this game is too scary for me. I've gotten frustrated by games that like, man, you don't even get a fucking gun in this game. You're just a pussy hiding in closets. I'm done with this. Like, I've had those moments, but I would almost say like some of the scariest moments in some of the games haven't even been relegated to horror games for me. Does anybody else play?
Well, I remember in The Last of Us that isolation feeling. You know, that was terrifying in some parts, especially when you were playing as Ellie. And do you remember that part where he got hurt and then you were just playing as Ellie and you had to like
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I remember feeling like, holy shit, I feel alone. You know, it's like I'm feeling this. I don't know. It just gave like some anxiety playing through that part, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go that way, I guess I would say Fallout 3, but just because I was very afraid of my game save being deleted. We're gonna go to that question a little bit.
You probably have to say friggin' PT. I know that one.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be I can't actually. PT is not the answer because we finished that together. I wouldn't have finished it on my own, obviously. Like I played that for like maybe 30 minutes on my own. Like, fuck this shit. I am not built for this game, you know. And then
I actually finished PT. So on mine,
but I finally beat it when it was me, Manny, you know, Chris, and you know all these other people and stuff. Their girlfriends there finally beat it. So, but my answer is actually Outlast on PS4, right? Because again, just like Manny, I don't really play a lot of scary games like that. And the scary games I have played in the past, I beat, like Resident Evil and stuff, right? Alien, I beat that. I don't know, Alien is interesting.
Dead Space. The first one. Holy shit.
I beat that shit.
Yeah, no, I beat it, but that was a scariest.
Yeah, that was a scary game. Yeah, but like Alien, it was scary, but it was a different type of scary because I understood the alien. You know what I mean? Like if I did something, the alien would counteract. So
but that's what I mean. Like if you compare Alien to Dead Space, right? Like the first Dead Space, while it was a great game, it's going to sound like I'm talking shit from here on out, but it was a great game. It was a masterful telling of a story that was actually decent. It had great atmosphere, but it was one of those games that was jumping on the bandwagon at the time of, well, I'm just going to give you no ammo, and boom, we've got an action survival horror game. Like, I get frustrated with games that where you're more worried about your ammo capacity than you are about like actually the things out to get you. You should be worried about ambiance and survival, not necessarily rationing, which is the whole I was afraid that a lot of the Resident Evils up until 4 pretty much fell into, of like, you only have 6 bullets and there's 5 zombies, and you're like, well, I mean, this is pretty much just bad math game now. Like there's very little skill involved in it. Like
melee. Always had melee.
Yeah,
you always do have melee, but it was always so janky. I have to say this because Chris isn't here. I would almost put forth some of the Dark Souls games just for the sheer amount of times I've heard people scream, "Holy shit! What the fuck is that?
What is that?" Yeah, it's crazy. Carlos, what about you, man? Scariest game you never finished?
I think I've talked about this before, but when I was a kid, I would always play Friday the 13th with my friends.
That bullshit game.
That was so bad.
It was a bullshit game, but it was scary to me. So especially that part where Jason just like randomly popped out out of nowhere and be like, "Oh shit!" So like I used to play that a lot with my friends, but after like when they left, I wasn't touching that game, man.
Like, fuck that shit.
Understood that.
That's like me and Adam not playing. Like we always used to play Castlevania 2 together. That game was fucking scary, man. Yeah. Especially when it would be like the curse of the day is replaced by the curse of night, and then all the doors close in the town and it's filled with monsters.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, and like in Friday the 13th, you used to go inside houses and you used to just turn, and you don't like every time you turned, you couldn't see the rest of the other walls.
It's just like frames.
Yeah, it's just frames. So like you didn't know what the hell you were turning into.
Hey,
what were we trying to do? Were we trying to kill Jason, or we were trying to run from him?
I never finished it, so I wouldn't know.
The game is kind of weird and complicated, or you have to get all kinds of different items to fight Jason.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on because we got a lot of questions. Go ahead, Brett.
I know the best answer to this question. Resident Evil 7 VR. I won't finish it. I won't even start it.
Yeah, no, that's going to be intense, man. So that's your future answer.
No, that's like, no, just the demo, because the demo is out in VR. And I'm like, no, I won't finish that so hard, I won't even start it.
All right, the last question. This is a very interesting question. He goes, do you guys wish you had the same enthusiasm for when you speak to somebody online to speaking to somebody in real life? me, yes, because in online I feel like I can talk more and be more direct, but in real life I have a bad anxiety and don't like direct eye contact. I always feel like there's something on my face, LOL. But in 2017, I hope I can fix my problems and be a better me and listen to Throwdown all year. This interesting question. I'm like, okay, why would you have anxiety talking to somebody in real life and online? It's the same. Like, maybe it's just me. Like,
no,
it's
it's
let me finish. Everybody's gonna get their turn. You know, to me, I'm like, it's the same shit. Like, you know, you're talking to like, okay, obviously the means are different, right? You have to type in shit, but I always felt like, okay, talking to someone, that's default communication, right? So how could that be like weirder than talking to somebody online, which is like a relatively new form of communication? Very strange.
Well, you also got to look at also, you know, kind of what his questions are. He says he grew up on certain games that we were already pretty much adults for. So a lot of people, you know, in the internet generation, even from our generation, find it very difficult to communicate with people in physical, like physically, because they're a lot of times it's mostly, you know, I always say that, you know, internet talking is always like a direct cycle to your brain. Like all your thoughts come out onto the screen. There's a lot of times for people there's no bounds. Like, in other words, you know, you would say there's certain things that you will never physically say to a person in real life.
I see that on Twitter with the people with fanboys and the flaming and cursing and saying all this shit.
Exactly.
I want to never say that to your face.
That's the other part I want to get to your face.
Exactly. That's all the stuff. That's all the stuff that's inside of people's heads. And I can understand where it's like when you're kind of just going, you know, when you're so used to kind of essentially mental communication with people and actually kind of having to go over to somebody and say something, it can be definitely difficult. For me, on the other hand, I prefer to actually talk to people. In fact, that's part of the reason why mostly I call Tony all the fucking time.
Yeah, hold on, just before you guys go on, here's my little add-on to this, because this is again probably just me and the kind of people I talk to, right? I think that talking to somebody in real life is a little bit less, it's not as bad as talking to somebody online, because it seems like when you're talking to somebody online, people online are more hostile than they would be in real life. Like in real life, you know, they're not going to start popping shit because they're right in front of you. But online, look at, I'm not going to call this guy by name, but there was a certain person I used to work with at CFM Play who, if you heard me talking to this guy in real life, you know, like you would think he was going to punch my head off. I met him in real life. The guy was he was laughing and shit the whole time. I'm like, dude, you're totally different. That experience taught me, oh, wait, like talking to people in real life that you meet online is a lot different, because sometimes they're kind of like they bluster themselves, you know, like they puff off their chest and shit. So I feel like talking to somebody in real life, you're not going to get that same hostility you do online. Like it's a lot calmer, you know, than it is, you know, online shit gets real. You know,
are we sure we've got the question right? Because it sounds like he prefers talking to people in real life, but he wishes he could gather more enthusiasm for talking online because he thinks it generally works better.
I don't think that. Is he talking about gaming? Is he talking about that? Is he talking about gaming?
No, he's talking about he can't get the same enthusiasm. We're talking to somebody in real life like he can't online. When he's online,
he says, "Do you guys wish you had the same enthusiasm for when you speak to somebody online to speaking with somebody in real life?" Okay, so yeah, like he wishes he had the same enthusiasm for speaking with people online that he does with speaking with people in real life. And he says that yes, because online he feels like he can talk better and more direct. He can get his thoughts out more cleanly, whereas real life is messy. It deals with anxiety and eye contact and things that he's going to work on fixing. But he's saying he still prefers to talk face to face, even though
the question doesn't say that.
I read it like Tony did.
Yeah. What I read it as like, hey, I don't like talking to people in real life. I prefer to talk to them online because it's messy in real life, and in online I could just say whatever I want, and I feel more confident.
Well, then that also brings up like, what is he talking about, and what type of person is he?
No, because there's some people. There's people that are shy out there. They just prefer.
Well, they could be shy, and then there could be those that they just have like hateful comments, you know, and hateful ideas.
No, there's people like Manny. Like I'm the same as Manny. Like I prefer to talk to people face to face. Like I would love to garner more enthusiasm for talking online, because I feel like most of the time, especially outside of the show, like I feel like I'm just throwing an opinion into a hole and walking away. Like I don't necessarily feel like I'm connecting. Communicating or connecting. And I kind of have this feeling, and like, trust me, this isn't like a low self-esteem boo-hoo thing, me, but like, it's what does anybody care? Like, what is one more voice in the crowd really gonna matter? I have stuff to do over here, so nobody really cares. It's not a big deal. I'm just not enthused for jumping into online conversations.
For me, it's different. It's because I have dyslexia, and for me, I try to keep, at least online. A lot of people say that I'm a little bit short because I'm trying to find the easiest way to say things, because I fucking totally can't tell if I'm spelling something wrong or right.
Yep, I'm right there with you, buddy.
So that's what it said. It'll be like, so it's like, somebody will be like, hey, what you doing? I'm going out to the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's cool. I'm doing fine.
Have you ever like typed out like a really nice response and like 3 of the words just look wrong no matter how you type them? So you're like, yeah, I'd love to join you for dinner. It's such a coincidence that you called me because I'm available this evening and would love to get together and have a good old time. And you're like, sure, I'll see you tonight. Like, just like,
yeah, you delete the whole goddamn thing. It's just like, oh, this is not working. I can't even get 90% of these fucking words right.
Even when they're right, they look wrong. That's the part. Like, I used to walk up to Rachel. I was like, "Is this how you spell available?" And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay." It looks weird to me.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. I go to my girlfriend. I'm like, "Do you spell it like this?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's right." I'm like, I can't.
But if you're doing it on your phone, you should get the little squiggly line.
Oh yeah, you get it. You get it.
But Manny sometimes uses weird words, like when he was talking about Kotaku. Manny, I hate to put you on the spot like this, but I'm gonna do it. Like, you wanted to say the word sources, right?
But it's a sorceress.
It was the word sorceress. I'm like, what the fuck?
Here's the thing. That's the spell check.
Yeah, that's the spell check fucking up. So you can't even try.
And to be honest, I'm looking at the word. I'm like, I think that's right.
But anyway, Adam, what do you think about this question? Like,
well, it all depends. I mean, I knew a lot of guys that were very quiet. There was this one guy that I worked with, and I work in the tech field, so you get all kinds of weird characters and people that just cut off. And there was this one tech, and he was real quiet and didn't really talk to anyone. And I said, "No, let me talk to him." So I went up and I was like, "So, what are you into?" And he says, "WoW." I was like, "Okay, you like WoW?" It's like, "Oh, I love WoW." But he just exploded, because that was his interest, and everything else outside didn't matter. And there's a lot of people like that. So it all depends. Like, if he's trying to talk more with others to engage, then maybe find people that have the same interests, and then that can open that door, and then he can then find out other things that they like, and then just expand from there.
What I used to do, like, when I used to communicate with other artists and stuff online, I eventually used to call them too and just talk to them on the phone. Sometimes that helps too, where it's just like you're actually having a little bit of communication. I mean, obviously, sometimes these things get dry. I mean, that's the way real life is. You run out of things to say. Don't be afraid of that happening.
One thing about talking to certain people online, I prefer talking to certain people online because, Manny, you already know this. Some dudes will keep you on the horn for fucking hours, and I ain't got that kind of time. So I'm like, I'll flat out lie. I'm like, hey, I can't talk right now. I can chat with you though, because then that way I can do what I need to do and still talk to them and not be an asshole. But it's like, I can't be on the phone talking to you all fucking day.
Tony, next time just tell me and I'll hang up. You don't have to bring it up on the show like this. You put me on the spot. Now I make it.
He's talking about me. He's talking about me,
man. You're fine. There's specific people. I'm like, yo, my man, like, get on with it. I can't be here all fucking day talking to you.
The worst part is, like, when they're there to call you for something or about something, but it takes forever for them to get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I know where you're going with this, but you're going at 10 miles an hour. You know which ones I hate most? This is a little bit off topic. I hate this. Hey, man, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on, man? I'm like,
oh yeah,
yo, like, they expect you to start the conversation. Like, nigga, you called me, man. I
had a buddy who was always high, and he used to call me for shit like that.
Yo, what up? What you doing? It's like, what?
Man, that sounds cool. I wish I could do. You could do that. Fucking shit. Turn on your radio. It's nothing special. Yeah. So what's up? What are you doing? I just told you what I'm doing.
Yeah, so that's my thing. It's like, yeah, I'll prefer to talk to certain people on because I ain't got that kind of time,
But dude, I can understand when you're, but at least you want to make the conscious effort to kind of talk to people. But again, talk to the people that you think that you kind of mostly trust. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you could definitely feel like you're being judged and stuff if you're talking to a bunch of strangers. One of the things you just got to get a little bit of that confidence. And you gotta remember, it's like, don't worry if you feel like somebody's thinking something, don't worry about it, because if they're gonna think what they're gonna think.
Yeah,
Don't even worry about like trying to make good impressions and stuff, especially with friends. They won't give a shit if if you're bombing on a conversation or anything like that. To be honest, I was always like when me and Tony have been friends for a long time, I was always the kind of quiet one. Everybody else would talk over me, you know, but I always tried to find those sections of conversation where I could add in something extra, you know?
Yeah. All right. Carlos, what do you say about this?
Yeah, I think just getting to a point where you can get someone comfortable with a conversation, it could open you up more. Like, for example, like I did all my bachelor's and my master's in engineering. So kind of like what Adam said, in the tech world, you get like some pretty weird people, man. And then like that don't say anything, that like refuse to like they said, like eye contact. Like I used to talk to people who never looked me in the eye. And but like, so like if you get them comfortable and talk to them about stuff they're interested in, like for example, this one kid in one of my classes, like he would never talk to anybody. But then one day I brought a One Piece shirt, and the dude wouldn't shut up about One Piece.
Like, here's the thing: introverted people are interesting to me because when you find out one thing, bam, they'll just talk to you, you know. And you know, just to preface what I was talking about before, right? I'm saying I don't understand it personally, but I know a lot of people like that. This is something I guess I could talk about on the show. I've never understood why, because I'm a pretty extroverted guy. I have a lot of introverted people. They seem to be drawn to me, and I like them too, because I don't like stupid people. Introverted people seem to think more about shit, you know. But yeah, introverted people in general are quiet until you bring up that, you know, one or two things. Then like, okay, I'm talking to you now. You're cool, you know.
Well, you have a way. Here's the thing about you, Tony. You have a way of making people feel very comfortable. You're very open. Like everybody, you're out of all of our friends, you know, you're probably the most approachable, not only because of the wheelchair thing, but also just because of your personality. It's like you could pretty much talk to you about anything and you'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah, you know, I just listen. That's the thing most people do. They don't fucking listen. Like my thing is like, if you actually see me with other people, I don't even talk that much on this fucking show. You know, like I talk if I need to, but when I talk, I get to my point because I don't like talking. It's like, come on, get to the fucking point already. You know, go ahead, Brett.
Right there. I'm just there's a bunch of things that I want to say. Like, this is a weird, unique perspective of mine because I'm a tattoo artist. I've had to deal with people all day, every day. I've had to develop a bedside manner. I've had to develop a thick skin. I've had to get over any kind of these social awkwardnesses, and it's been really good for me. The final result is I'm honestly better at communicating than most of my peers, most of my friends, and that's both frustrating and good sometimes. But here are a couple pointers that I would give you to start off with. First of all, you don't have to look at somebody and make eye contact 100% of the time. In fact, that's super serial killery and creepy if you do.
Yeah, man.
You direct your gaze along with the flow of the conversation. If you're talking about something and you're showing how something works, feel free to look at your hands as you're giving a demonstration. Feel free to look up at somebody every once in a while to check to see if they're paying attention. If you're giving directions or talking about your environment, feel free to look around the environment. But every once in a while, check back in with the person. If you do want to look at the person and you do want to talk directly to them and you feel like you want to make eye contact, feel free to look at their eyebrows. It'll express almost the exact same emotions that you're trying to pick up without having that kind of piercing, kind of negative sinking feeling, sinking in the feeling in the pit of your stomach kind of deal. So it'll get you away from that that internal conflict of looking somebody in the eye, while obviously still giving you all the visual information you need to process. Learn to get comfortable with other people. A lot of people give off a lot of really subtle information through body language, and you're going to want to get out there in terms of like getting out there and making things better. Just strike up a conversation with people. A lot of what everybody's been telling you has been great for people who are, you know, looking to draw inverted people out of their shells. But if you're looking to be less inverted, here's what I would tell you. Try and find common ground with people. Almost everybody has some kind of common ground. And when you find that common ground, that gives you the ability to speak with some sort of conviction or some sort of authority, which automatically gives you a boost to your self-confidence. And the problem with most people is not that they have a lack of self-confidence or anything like that, but the people that have such a lack of self-confidence that it actually derails the tempo of the conversation. Nobody has a problem if you say you don't know, or if you're not familiar with something, especially if you give them the opportunity to expand upon it that way. People have the problem when they're like, oh man, I love that movie. Have you seen that movie? And you go, and they're like, okay, well, never mind. We're just going to skip over you.
Well, not only that, Brett, but like, for example, if you don't know something and you ask the other person to explain it to you, they feel better about themselves because they explain it better and they're having a better conversation to them.
Exactly. So it's more about how you react and how you behave in the conversation than what you're even necessarily bringing. So a lot of these doubts that you have to realize are self-cast. There's no reason that having a conversation with you would be an unpleasant thing unless you're not responding well. Always make sure that you're listening to the other person and not trying to formulate a response of your own, so that way the communication goes back and forth, because otherwise people will pick up immediately that you're not listening and they'll break down conversation with you. So, these are all very small things to employ that will get you more comfortable with dealing with people. And I'm sure some of the guys here probably have some other examples for you too, but
it's funny because I always say that tattoo artistry is also a semi form of what do they call it? Psychology at the same time. I always
we're like bartenders you spend more time with.
Exactly. It's like watching my girlfriend, going to her with a couple of these guys. It's like and seeing the way these other guys work. So it's almost like everything comes out. They're like, yeah, when I went down the street, it's like everything. They tell you pretty much everything while they're there.
Well, they start small talk with you. What was it? There was one guy that did my elbows, and God damn, I have him as a friend on Facebook. He wound up getting hit by a car and stuff. It's really sad. But anyway, he was telling me he was the main tattoo artist for Hatebreed. He went on tour with them, and he was just doing all their tattoos. And I was like, how'd you get that gig? He was like, they came to town. I did one of the guys' tattoo. He came back and he says, hey, what are you doing for the next few months? And he's like, this is where I work. He's like, come with us. So he was there, and he did the band, he did roadies, he did regular people that would oh, I want the band tattoo on me. He was like, all right, $100, yay!
Tattooed on my ass.
So I was like, oh, that's a sweet gig. And
awesome. All right, let's move on, because again, we got a lot of questions. I like that question. Very different question than the types we usually get.
I
like that.
I met some of the people on the show, and they're just saying they love listening to our show and they love the way our conversations work and stuff like that. And it's one of our guys, he's just like it's kind of it makes him want to kind of communicate with other people too, or just sit down with their friends and talk. This is not the first time we've heard this, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly this is a common issue for a lot of our hobbies being so reclusive. There are a lot of people that don't necessarily have like I'm the way that I am
because developing like that. Think about it. Like now we have Amazon Go. It's like, don't even deal with people at the stores. Order everything online. It's like it's putting you in a bubble.
Absolutely. Like I recognize myself as having the benefit of working a job where I've had to learn to communicate and deal with people, but I've seen a lot of people in office work and IT and things like that don't necessarily know real well how to hit the target with another person. And I always find it tragic when people like have a misunderstanding because they're so busy thinking up something in their head that they're not actually listening to what the other person is saying. And so their conversation is just going all over the place or something like that. So I think it's a problem that a lot of us have. And if there's any way that some of us can help others, overcome that, then all the better. If I can give, small little social cues to help you guys get over the anxiety that both you and I, by the way, face, like, absolutely, I have anxiety. Is that social anxiety? Absolutely. Is it social anxiety? Are you able to tell I have social anxiety? Not really, because my job has trained me a certain way. And I'd be happy to share that experience. And in return, one of you motherfuckers gets to help me when my router breaks down next time.
Yes.
Nice. There you go. I just ordered a new router.
This isn't the first time one of our listeners has told us. It's very cool. Actually, before we move on, Brian, I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is a very interesting topic we don't normally cover on this show.
Oh, British. There are no awkward people in Britain. They're just awkwardly charming.
It depends where you go. It seems like London's like very bad for like just random talking to people, since no one wants to talk to you here. Whereas like up north in like towards Scotland, like the more you go there, then it's a lot more pleasant.
But
yeah,
if you're like wearing like a football jersey or
Newcastle?
something, I would think people would come up and talk to you. I mean, it's
Depends which kit you're wearing. Because purple kits are like gang colors. If you wear the wrong colors,
yeah, I've seen Green Street Hooligans. I know.
Yeah. But yeah, Brian, what's your take on this, man?
You guys pretty much said everything that I want to say, so I can't really add anything to it.
Right, fair enough. All right,
moving on. All you say is like, yeah, you guys said everything. Great.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Moving on. Who's this dude? G Megaforce. Once again. All right. First question. As marketing costs can get into the hundreds of millions, are companies with big franchises better off making a big budget film to advertise in conjunction with other marketing strategies, i.e. Assassin's Creed, Ratchet and Clank, etc.? I don't know, man.
I hope not.
No. Yeah.
No, because then they're just going to want to expect a return on their marketing by itself as opposed to the marketing and their product.
I don't like it, man. By the way, that Ratchet and Clank movie, I'm a big Ratchet and Clank fan. I've been a fan since the first one, right? I was on the airplane. I was trying to watch this movie. Man, I don't sleep on planes. That movie put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no.
It suffers from, I mean, granted, it has all the actors and all the different, it looks like Ratchet and Clank. It kind of lacks that magic that
it's like let the game be the game. It's like, okay, as much as I love Final Fantasy 15, I don't like the fact that I have to watch a fucking movie and an anime to get the whole story. It's like, come on, man, just keep it all contained. I don't like that shit,
I had my daughter watch it and she loves movies and she was like, I don't like this movie. I'm like,
wow.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'm not for this, marketing tie-in bullshit.
Here's the thing, but
it's a cheap approach. Go Netflix.
Yeah, you can go Netflix. I feel like if done the right way, it can be done. I feel like I don't know if Assassin's Creed is any good. I definitely know that the Ratchet and Clank movie is not. It hasn't really found its audience. And it's not very good, from what a lot of people say. But I don't think that. I just think that the movie makers have to kind of find the right balance of entertaining movie as well as trying to bring it to a new level. And I think that's kind of what the Assassin's Creed guys are doing, where it's like they're not making Assassin's Creed Assassin's Creed 1 the movie. They're kind of making a movie in the Assassin's Creed universe.
Not really, because the anime works.
Have you guys seen the Division short film?
No, but he's not. But he's not fucking what's his face. He's not Desmond Miles.
Yeah, it's like an alternate universe type story.
Yeah,
like the Animus works different,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same shit that they're doing to a lot of the comic. It's the same shit DC's doing to a lot of the guys. I was like, okay, here's a vague idea that we're going to implement, and we're going to make it far enough away from the mark that we're not insulting people. Like, it seems to be a new weird formula. And I actually read an article behind the chick that played the Ancient in Doctor Strange and Margaret Cho that I realize I'm derailing conversation here, but I'm going to do so willingly. God damn, I just lost my train of thought.
Son of a bitch. You were hyping it up. All right. Anyway.
But the Division ones, right? Have anyone seen those short films?
No.
You didn't look them up. It's great, right? So that could be a series. I could see that as a series on Netflix. It doesn't have to be.
I thought the Halo ones were pretty good.
Yeah, those were good.
The live action Halo things that they did.
I didn't see that.
Way back. That's when they made.
Get in here before you lose it. Get in here. Hurry up.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. It's a system that people have been doing since Guardian of the Galaxy, where you take the basic concepts and you make them a little bit different. You kind of flip all the paradigms. That's one of the reasons they made the Ancient an old Celtic woman. It's one of the reasons that Guardians of the Galaxy actually worked, because you can play around with that. But the idea and the formula seems to be that you don't stick too truly to the original formula. If you do, you're going to piss people off. And you can't completely reinvent the wheel, because then it has nothing to do with the original thing. So you kind of fall somewhere in the middle and land in this inspired by territory, which really fucking pisses me off.
Well, you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy then? Is that what
No,
you're
I
talking about?
absolutely no, and that's the problem. Guardians of the Galaxy stumbled onto it, and it worked really well for Guardians of the Galaxy because people didn't really care about Guardians of the Galaxy beforehand. It wasn't already a thing that people minded it being changed so much. But then they're taking that same formula and applying it to things that make sense that people like, and they're destroying perfectly good canon with this formula simply because they think it could be applied to everything. And I think Assassin's Creed is a perfectly good example. Like, we already have a rich storyline that you don't need to destroy. You can interweave a new storyline in between all of this that holds up all of the games a little bit better. Maybe have cameos from some of the characters in the games or something like that. Like
that's the Resident Evil approach. The original Resident Evil movie is actually not bad at all.
Yeah,
and
it actually you can kind of fit it into the first two games, you know?
Yeah, you can fit it into the first two games, and that's exactly what they were looking for. But the later ones are just kind of nuts.
Yeah, but like, yeah, especially if you could fit into the first two games. Like, if you could, I don't know that you want to recall the Desmond storyline because it was such a letdown of a storyline. Like, I know we've talked about this before. I think I'm one of the only people that was like, I was kind of interested in what Desmond was doing.
I wanted to see Desmond become the assassin.
Listen, I wanted Assassin's Creed 3 to be a game where you only played as Desmond, because I felt like all those games are leading up to that, right? You're in the future, the modern day, whatever, and you finally take down Abstergo. I thought all those games were leading up to that. Then decided, no, fuck it, you only get a little bit of Desmond. We're going to go back to play as this boring guy in fucking 1786. I'm like,
and they killed Desmond. They didn't only kill him, but they're like, yep, there's his corpse. Like, they fucking rubbed your face in it.
So stupid, man. They fucked up. And then the other games, you play as some jerk off. You don't even, like, it's in first person. You don't even know who you're playing as.
You're playing you.
They should have. That
fun.
series should have ended with 3 with Desmond, and that's it. They fucked up. You know. Anyway, anybody else have anything to say about this cross marketing bullshit?
I wish that they would put more money into the games and hold special events. Like, here's the thing. I'm not sure how much marketing actually works. Like, I'm sure it works. I'm not saying that it doesn't. But I'm not sure it works enough that they know it's going to work every time, because I've seen them advertise the fuck out of games that bomb, and I've seen games that have become sleeper hits. So my question now becomes, like, what if you put that extra, like, sometimes you're talking about you could double the budget of a game, double the fucking budget of the game. Like, how much better a game would that make? And how much at that point would everybody just be talking about it and playing it? We live in a world of social media. We live in a world where people advertise for free the things that they like to the people that they like. They will go out there and evangelize the things that they love, that they will write letter rating campaigns if you stop doing a thing that they love. Like, I don't know that putting a little ad before a YouTube video, I don't know if anybody notices it anymore. We all just wait the 10 seconds to skip it. Or if we can't skip it, we look at the corner of our screen and refuse to watch the ad.
Well, there's plugins that you can put in your browser that just make it disappear.
Yeah. Like, they spend so much money on shit that we spend so much time ignoring in a world where we evangelize the things that we love. I don't really know that at least the way that they're marketing and the way that they're spending the money is super efficient anymore. And I know this opens the door for astroturfing campaigns in which we can't tell whether the community is actually excited or it's 10,000 EA representatives with Reddit accounts who are fucking excited about the game. And that's an evil world that I don't want to live in. But at the same time, I think when you're spending as much money as marketing as you are in the actual game, you are selling an idea now and not a game. And there's a discrepancy there between what consumers want, which is a product, and what you're selling, which is an idea. And this has become rampant across many industries, and it's become standard across many industries. Value is this indeterminate thing that you has no connection to the real product, and I don't want to see any of that.
You see, like Ubisoft, they actually opened up a movie department. So they're really trying to merge the two worlds together. They're like, all right, we're going to do this. We're not going to just create this IP and then license it out and have some other studio or whatever company destroy it, run into the ground, or something like Tomb Raider movies and stuff. So, I mean, they're trying to do both. They're trying to get their cake and eat it too. So,
I hope that people take a cue from Marvel in the idea that building a sustained universe that people learn to love and love to revisit is the key to being able to build this media empire. I think that's one of the reasons that Shadows of Mordor was so good, is it didn't even fucking tell us a lot of the story. It didn't fill in any giant holes that you needed to know as a Lord of the Rings freak, but it also didn't get in the way of any of the movies either. It didn't try and rehash the stuff that you'd always been through. It just wove between the stuff that was already there, and it was a good game in and of itself.
Which still confuses me.
Yeah, I know. It confuses all of us. But and see, that's the thing. I don't think that game did a shitload of advertising either, did it?
Which one?
Like, I think that was one of those games that took us a little
there
bit.
was nothing for it, bro.
No, because it was just word of mouth and from the online about the whole.
And not to mention people who are into Lord of the Rings, they hear Mordor and they're like, oh,
yeah. Lord of the Rings is gonna sell just because of the name. It doesn't even need that much advertising.
But no, because this is a perfect microcosm. Like, that was one of those games that I wasn't going to touch. I'm pretty sure there was a couple other people on here who weren't going to touch. And then somebody played it, and they're like, no, this is a really good game. And then slowly, one by one, we all got Shadow of Mordor. We all played it, and we all gave it Game of the Year. And that, I think, was a perfect example of how it moved through popularity. It didn't have a big marketing campaign. It was just
have a point there, because they didn't turn me around until I actually saw it being played at E3. I'm like, wait, they have, what is that? The Nemesis system. Because before that, I'm like, another Lord of the Rings game. Fuck this shit. The Lord of the Rings name got me away from it. But when I saw the Nemesis system, I'm like, wait a minute. As a matter of fact, when I was playing the demo, right, something happened in the demo the developers weren't even planning for. Like, guys, sorry, like they got killed. Like that wasn't supposed to happen. It's like that's the Nemesis system. I'm like, okay, you sold me. That's awesome.
Nemesis system.
But apparently, I was in the minority because all the fans were telling me, "You're fucking crazy. I've been hyped for this game for years." I'm like, really? He just looked like a generic fucking open world game to me.
Hey man, I like those other Lord of the Rings games where they're literally like Golden Axe. You're
All right, let's move on because we got a ton of shit here tonight. We keep getting more questions. Holy shit. Right. This is a fun one. Okay. What makes it more believable to trust a kid to save the world? In your opinion, what situation makes it more believable that a village or world would just send a kid off to fight the bad guy? Most people don't think about it or just don't care when they play a game as a young protagonist who has been chosen to save the world. I realize that I'm one of these people. However, now when I think about it, I guess it becomes believable if the character didn't start out that way. He or she was simply on an errand, something bad happens, and then they're tasked with saving the world simply because no one else was around. Are there any good reasons that are believable? Yeah, this is a video game trope. Game trope out the ass. Go ahead, Brett.
It's the other. The character that the young protagonist that's sent out is usually the other. It's this kind of character archetype that's an outsider. They're not part of the norm. They're usually from somewhere else. They display some kind of characteristics which distinguish them from your average person. Some kind of supernatural element in their birth or how they came to the village, or some kind of abilities or calling or oneness with some kind of ancient thing. Like even in Zelda, like he wasn't born in that village. He was he had a connection to the forest. He could talk to the spirit tree. Like it's generally kind of the sense of either a highly superstitious, like this person was born to fill this, and usually people are a little awestruck, like they're the chosen one. Like I can't, but they're just a kid. Well, yes, but the signs all say that they're the chosen one. A Link in Time, actually, that was like one of the main premises of the game, is like, but I'm the chosen one. Yeah, but you're way too fucking young to be the chosen one. Here, sit in this time capsule for a little while. So I think it's, well, first of all, playing as a young character is a lot of times to draw in a young audience. Mm-hmm. A lot of times the young characters don't act like young characters either. They act like fully mature adults in a young character's body. And a lot of times, even in movies or comics or things like that, they always equate the power to innocence, or the idea of being able to think outside the box, or not seeing the world in such a cement way that the adult does. Like there's always some reason to point out that them being a child has something to do with it. But for the most part, I'm going to go with the fact that these kids are usually, like I said, the archetypal other. They're something different. They're outcasts for some reason, and that goes all the way from E.T. to Stranger Things to Legend of Zelda.
I mean, and even it works. It's an archetype that works even through films. I mean, most anime are like that. It's like,
yeah, it was the kid, you know.
You are the only one with alpha brainwaves who can use this robot. What do you mean? That guy can't do it? No,
Yeah.
You.
You, Shinji.
It's
Only
like
you can do it.
It's always like, it's a damn shame that you're a kid and not this fully grown, jacked adult, like trained military specialist who's standing right fucking next to you.
Yeah, no, we got to get the little pussy kid to go inside the Evangelion, you know?
I don't want to. Listen, Shinji. Your mom's soul is inside of it, and only you can connect with your mom's soul. Oh, okay.
Worst dad.
Why would you
ever.
do something like this, Dad?
Let me go jerk off to what's her face now while she's passed out.
Oh shit!
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Awkward.
I don't know. I think Brett pretty much covered it. It's like this weird kid, you know. It's like the fuck up kid, you know. It's like he's the one that always saves the village because people, you know. Here's the other layer to it. People like, you know, the underdog stories, right? The shitty little kid in the village, right? The big fuck up. He saves the world. People like those kind of stories, so it keeps happening over and over again. You know,
the best was the bully. Bully
like,
was the best one of that.
It's like, hey, the only one who can save the world is that mute guy, that mute kid in the green tunic.
Yeah, he can't talk. You know,
anybody knows that he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, the kid that's always having sex with chickens and shit. He's the only one that can save the world, right? It's interesting. But yeah, you're right. I never thought about that until this question. It's always like, yeah, the kid's gonna do it. Sure. I think I just watch too much anime.
Again, yeah, that and also, Brett is also right. It's always usually the other too, because if you always notice that
it sounds like somebody from Lost.
Yeah,
you know,
it is always somebody. It's somebody who's out. Not only the kid that's different, but it's also like the adult that doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, the amnesia and shit.
I have amnesia. I don't know what's going on. Holy crap! I killed my family.
Yeah, right. Whoa, I'm the chosen one.
Or it's like, hey, wait a minute! I just stole the identity of my best friend. That's Cloud.
Oh God, yeah. I also think that there's a certain bit of everybody wants to feel like they have this secret potential, this unlocked potential, and most of these characters have a series of skills that through life cause them to be the outcast, but in this special circumstance cause them to be exceptional. For instance, in a lot of anime, the protagonist is, very spirited, very stubborn, and hyper aggressive, which does not work well in the context of like modern day Japan, but works great when you're fighting spirit demons.
Yeah,
so it's this kind of idea that there's this outlier, this outsider, this somebody who's not accepted, who's looked down on, who was born different, which is kind of an element that we all kind of share, this idea that like we're inherently alone and everybody sees the differences in themselves more than the similarities. So that kind of harkens to a very small bit in everybody that really wants to be soothed. And then to tell that bit that the thing that makes you feel awkward and different is the thing that actually makes you special and better is an idea that's really, really, really well trod. And I think that comes across especially well with a younger protagonist.
Yeah, all right. I think we pretty much covered that pretty well.
He is the chosen one.
He is the chosen one.
And I'll add the addendum to that, because notice the only adult protagonists you find like that are failures. Like you never see the protagonist who's the outlier come in, who's already successful and strong. They're like, they just broke out of prison, or they're kind of, they're a Han Solo scoundrel type, or they couldn't hack it in military academy. Finn from Star Wars, or they're just a dirt-faced orphan like Rey. Like all of these archetypes are in Star Wars.
Yeah, basically. Oh man. By the way, I just posted a little thing here in the chat. Nappa Super Saiyan, like he grows a beard, a yellow beard. He's like, how does Nappa, like when he goes Super Saiyan, he doesn't have hair? Like, how does that work? His beard just gets bigger. Hilarious.
I grow a beard, Vegeta.
All right, and the last question. It's hilarious because he just has a little shitty mustache.
I can never forget the abridged Nappa, Ghost Nappa.
Oh, that's something for Riku. He's a big fan of the abridged.
Has nobody ever watched Dragon Ball Abridged?
I can't stand watching that shit. It's like, I don't know. It's not for me. Okay, last question here from Mr. G Megaforce. All right. What's the strangest thing you've been asked to Photoshop or manipulate? You don't have to have done it. You just have to be asked. Manny, I'm looking at you.
Strangest thing I've been had to Photoshop?
That you've been asked to Photoshop. You didn't have to have actually done it. It's just or draw. Yeah.
A strangest thing.
Yeah. Strangest thing you've ever had to Photoshop or draw or been
Oh,
asked.
it was actually I actually recently did a project for Blue Man Group. I had to essentially what it was. The idea was that it was a crowd of people. And apparently, the way they explain it is that this is like Blue Man vision, right? And then the Blue Men can somehow see the potential of you through color. So literally, I had to kind of create these funky auras, and they had to somehow connect to each other. It was a really interesting project, but I mean, obviously, definitely from the guys who created Blue Man. It's like they see in color, but yet they connect, and they have a different connection from each one. I was like, whoa. I felt like, oh man, I think I needed to smoke something to be within that sort of conversation, but I managed to get it done. And I think that's probably the weirdest one because it definitely came from a very artist mind, or performance artist mind type of person.
Nice. All right, Brett, what about you, man?
So
keep in mind that you're a tattoo artist. I'm also going to throw in weirdest body part you've ever had to tattoo, just for my own pleasure.
Never tattooed a dick, if that's what you're fishing.
I was about to say, hey man, how many taints have you tattooed, man?
I've tattooed way too close to most ladies' nether bits. Here's the thing that nobody asked, but everybody secretly wants to know. Everybody asks me like, well, if you have to tattoo a dick, like, how do you keep it hard to tattoo it? Number one, I don't tattoo dicks. Okay, I don't. And
a real man, all right.
Number two is the reason. No, it's not that I'm a real man. It's just you can't afford my handling fee. Number two,
your handling fee, Brett.
This is how you have to do it. You have to grab it. You have to wrap it around your fingers and then pull back on it so it's taut and tattoo that area, and then release. Wrap it around your fingers again, pull it taut, and tattoo that little area. So there is like a full-on 3.5 tug jobs worth of like just manipulating going on in there. Like you could not pay me enough. There are not hot showers in the world to make me forget that thing happened. So I don't do it. But
put your fucking hands in acid afterwards.
I have been coaxed by ladies like, and it's always like, no, I won't tattoo the private area, and they'll get close and be like, little bit lower, little bit lower, little bit lower, little bit lower. I'm like, all right, we are in your vagina now. I am not tattooing this here. So that's body part.
Yeah, weirdest thing now.
Strangest things that I've been asked to manipulate or draw. I'll break this down to the best and the worst. The best was probably a bear and a shark fighting in space in front of a giant zodiac sign, and like the shark had like they were both wearing helmets, right? So the shark couldn't bite, so the shark had like this strap on with little rockets and like laser beams shooting off the back, and the bear obviously couldn't bite, so he had like big clamps put on his claws, and like a little 1950s like rocket pack coming out of his back. The worst was the first time I almost lost my job, when the owner came to me and said that, and this is how they presented it to me. Okay, so have you ever seen Looney Tunes at the end when like Porky Pig comes out of the circle? And I was like, yeah. Like, okay, I want it like that, but I want 3 figures coming out of the circle. One forward, one left, and one right. I was like, okay. It's like, I want all 3 of them to be Klansmen, and I want one holding a noose, one holding a burning cross, and one holding a shotgun. And over the top and the bottom, I wanted to say boys in the hoods. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Shit.
Wow. This is a Trump supporter?
Dude, this was in, oh God, this was 16 years ago.
Wow.
So before any of that shit was even a thing, it was, before any of us were even getting political with that shit. Like, that's when I had my mohawk and I was super punk rock and I just got my jaw broken by a fucking Nazi. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's, that crosses my line. Like and to this day, like I still don't do gang tattoos, and I consider like white power tattoos to be gang tattoos as far as I'm concerned, or hate tattoos, and I don't do those either. So I adamantly refused to do this while still an apprentice. So I came really close to getting fired.
Oh shit. That's heavy. All right.
Well, I did a track. I did a track that had some stuff from Twisted Pictures. It was from Saw. And when I released my album, and they pulled it down. The publisher pulled my album off iTunes and a few other stores, and I contacted them. I was like, what happened? I was like, well, Twisted Pictures contacted us, and they requested it get removed because it wasn't authorized. But it was like a collage track that I did called Hope for the Desperate. And that screwed me over, because then I can't ever put my album back up unless I take that track out.
That's crazy.
Either that or just re-record the lines.
I was thinking about that.
I could do that. I could do a voice like that.
See, that's what I should have did too. I should have just
imagine a time. You know, I don't know.
All right, let's move on here. So Mike Madden, in reference to a question we got last week, he goes, "My childhood name was Mike Madden because I was the best in Madden football." Okay, so there you go.
Now we know the secret has been revealed.
So this is an interesting one. I wish Chris was here for this one. Why are you guys Nintendo haters? We're
because
not Nintendo haters.
Hates me.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
let's just be honest. We don't hate Nintendo, but Nintendo actively does hate us. So we feel some type of way. We said this a million times. Basically, we've all loved Nintendo back in the day, but we feel that Nintendo has betrayed us by basically catering to grandpas, and fucking little kids and shit, and not getting with it. You know what I'm saying? Like having involved with us.
Not just that. Okay, it's not just that. Oh, they haven't grown with their audience and they haven't supported us. They have actively broken away and said, "Hey, the people who have made us like a giant multinational conglomeration,
fuck those guys.
We don't fucking care about you anymore.
Yeah.
And we're going to read your fan letters in front of everybody and laugh at you." Like there was, it's not just the breakup. There was malice in the breakup.
There's a lot of shit in it that people understand.
I mean, Mike, I'm not. I mean, you obviously listen to the show. Have you ever listened to Chris talk about the press conference where he asked the question, "What about the fans?"
Yeah, and you know what happened? They laughed. They fucking laughed at him.
Which means he said that multiple occasions that he said that they'll always be there. So they're not thinking about any of the fans. They're thinking of the only time they ever think about the fans is when they're down and out, and then they start placating to the fans and saying, "Oh yeah, we got Mario, we got Zelda."
I think the real question is, why are you guys so critical of Nintendo? That's the real question. And just because they do a lot of shady shit. We're going to talk about this. We didn't get to talk about it on Throwdown because it didn't happen at the time. Okay, so the rumor is that the Legend of Zelda for the Wii U has been canceled, right? Now, you would expect people who had pre-ordered this fucking game, who bought a Wii U for the Zelda, would be pissed. What am I hearing from Nintendo fans? Oh, we don't need that anyway. I'll buy the Switch. Like, really? You guys are just bowing out like that. And this is what I'm talking about. Nintendo knows that their hardcore fans will do whatever they want. They'll support Nintendo no matter how much they fuck them over. So they don't give a shit. That's why they get
the Apple approach right there. That's just how they work.
Well, having brand loyalty isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I'm not gonna bash Nintendo fans for continuing to love Nintendo. But I will say, just last night when I went to see Star Wars for the second time, I was having a conversation with somebody about I forget what movie it was even. But they had made the comment like, "Oh yeah, but they're owned by Disney now, so or they're owned by Disney, so you can't expect much from that." And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, Disney owns Star Wars, Disney owns Marvel. Disney is a great example of a company that has grown with its audience. Like, Disney in the 50s or in the 60s was like wholesome kid entertainment and also for adults. And then they started doing the kids movies thing, and they got an audience. And from the time I was young, they had the classic Disney movies, and they started out coming out with the new kinds of Disney movies. And like Hercules was a thing that I liked right around the time I was like 10 or 12. And they've continued to say like, okay, well, the people that we're aiming towards are growing up, so we want to have products for them, which is the reason that they bought Star Wars, which is the reason that they bought Marvel. They want to not only pander to me, but my kids if I had them, or my friends. And that's a great example of growing with your brand. Long before now, Nintendo was guilty of not growing with their brand. Even before the Wii U, even as far back as the GameCube, there was already this rift happening with a bunch of people, myself included, saying, why will you not put adult games on this console? When the Xbox came out, the Xbox was this breath of fresh air. Microsoft treated people like they were adults. They're like, you want blood boobies in your video games? You're an adult. You can have blood boobies in your video games. And everybody kind of looked at Nintendo, and Nintendo went, no, here's Mario. And so the rift kind of started there. And ever since then, like, and I think you see a lot more anger in people my age, because like that's where it happened. Like, I love Nintendo, and at that point, Nintendo kind of broke off and said, you know, we don't need to do what everybody else is doing. Our system doesn't need to be as powerful. We don't need to grow with you. And I felt a little left behind. I was like, don't worry, they'll get me on the next generation. And the next generation was the Wii, where they said actively, we don't care about you. You're going to buy our console anyway. We want your sister to buy our console, and we want your grandma to buy our console. And I stood in line for a Wii like a fucking chump, because I was loyal to Nintendo, because I have them fucking tattooed on my knuckles. But it became quickly apparent after, again, the Wii was released, and they were now not only releasing not only any adult games, but not any real games, not any hardcore games either, just casual shovelware for the most part, and party games, that it became hyper aware that there's no place in Nintendo's ecosystem for me anymore. And that was.
But here's the thing. I almost feel like that they're also kind of like, even if they were just going for, they could have went for the family entertainment section too, which should be a little bit more complicated rather than, you know, pure kiddie stuff.
Well, it was all family stuff. And that was the problem, is that they decided, because they were doing the Blue Ocean strategy, that their market wasn't core gamers. And that's literally what Blue Ocean means. Like, I'm not making this shit up.
Oh, no.
They were talking about the current people buying games were hardcore gamers, and there's a whole wide blue ocean out there, and they don't need to fight for this same food source. That is a thinly veiled metaphor for saying we don't need to cater to hardcore gamers. We can get money from other people. And the problem with that was, it's not that we can cater to other people as well, it's that we can cater to other people instead. And so that's where it comes when a lot of us say like, look, Nintendo broke up with us. That's where it came from. And I'm not sure how old you are, and I'd be interested to hear the answer, because if you're younger, it would make a lot of sense, because a lot of this kind of disgruntled anger started as far back as, at least for me, as the GameCube and even the Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
It's been a long, slow thing that, like, if you were 10 years younger than me, you might view Nintendo as always having been this way, and always having, you know, sat in this niche, and that was just how it was. But that's not how it was for the longest time. Even the original Nintendo had like super bloody games on it.
Yeah, like Nintendo had everything, had third party, they had everything, right? And then as the years went on, they just became a first party system. Like, they had some third party games, but nothing really like that blew people away. You know what I mean? But they used to have it. Nintendo and Super Nintendo, right? Great systems full of, like, you know, if you bought only that system, the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo, you'd be good, right? But if you bought just the Nintendo 64, just the GameCube, you'd be missing out on a lot of shit. But Nintendo obviously didn't care, because they know their fans are going to buy it, you know, regardless. So they just didn't care about catering to third party, making the system palatable to these guys, you know. And it seems like they're not learning a lesson with the fucking Switch now. You know, there's so many reasons, man, and we've detailed this shit like many times on the show, you know.
Here's the thing. The other thing about Nintendo, it's like they're the only time that things are actually going to change is the minute that for them, if they change the guard around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all the same motherfuckers from the 80s. It's all the same guys.
Yeah, and they think what worked in the 80s still works now.
Exactly.
Think about it. They still operate like they're a fucking toy company. Like they have these like artificial like shortages and all this shit.
Yeah,
that's not what a video game company does, man.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that, you look at any of the parts of any of their consoles, they're all fucking cheap because they're trying to maximize the amount. The only real powerful console they released was the Super Nintendo. Everything else was just weak. I mean, Nintendo 64, to be honest, was not even that much more powerful than the PlayStation.
Do you remember that souped up GameCube that they made that had like an LCD screen and stuff? Do you remember that one?
The GameCube was a pretty good system.
The GameCube was good. It was better than a PS2. But I mean, look at the time frame. Like the GameCube came out. What it was like. The PlayStation 2 was already out for months.
Yeah, but the problem, the big problem with the GameCube was the fucking, the media. It was like these little
the tiny discs that couldn't hold as much data that they couldn't hold a real game on it.
So even when
that was their copy protection, by the way.
Yeah, and even when they make a proper system like the GameCube, I'm not going to take anything away from that system. They still do some bullshit that hampers it in the end. Look at the Switch now; they're doing that same.
A stronger system than the PlayStation.
Huh?
The GameCube was not a stronger system than the PlayStation.
Yeah, it was. It actually wasn't. The PlayStation 2 out of the big three that were out there, it was the weakest one out of all of them. Xbox was the most powerful, then the GameCube, then the PS2.
Is this on statistics? Like, are you talking on specs? Because I had all three, and I will tell you, the GameCube underperformed.
Oh no, it was widely known and stuff. You could look up the specs, I guess. That for example, look at Resident Evil. That was a GameCube exclusive, right? When it came to PS2, they had to downgrade the graphics because it wasn't as good as the GameCube. But at the same time, the GameCube didn't have any fucking games because you couldn't put like a massive GTA game on those little ass discs. None like Nintendo would want that kind of game on their system anyway,
They did get one GTA, by the way.
I remember being really disappointed with the GameCube's performance.
Yeah, man. But yeah, anyway, let's move on again. We got a ton of questions here. Hell Metal. All right. What is your favorite trailer for a game of all time? Mine was the TGS 2001 Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer. That's a good one. Yeah, this is a hard question for me.
Answer this quick.
That was the big switch behind it too, because of the Metal Gear one. Because seriously, like that one, like they totally flipped out Raiden. Like Raiden is supposed to be in a lot of those scenes that they put Snake in there, literally fooling you into thinking that you play Snake throughout the whole game.
Yeah, but Adam, you came up with your answer pretty quick.
Oh yeah, because it's one that'll stick with me forever, and that was Gears of War 2, when they had Alan Seeger's poem, "A Rendezvous with Death." And it just fit perfect, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. And it just had that feeling, and you see him, Marcus Phoenix, running into battle, and, I had a rendezvous with death, and he goes through the whole poem, and it was beautiful. And I was like, all right, this is great. That'll always stick with me. That's my favorite trailer.
Manny, what you got? Actually, Carlos, I heard you jump in, so
go Carlos.
First? Yeah.
Yeah, the Halo 3 trailer where it's like this dad and this kid like talking, like looking at the stars at night. I forget. It's like they're talking about like different worlds and different people outside of that world. And he's like, do you think we'll ever meet him? And then they show like Master Chief just freaking destroying people like left and right. Like that got me super hyped for Halo 3. And the Gears of War, like this is an easy one, and it's like the most common one. But the first Gears of War trailer,
I thought that was going to be Adam's answer. To be honest, I thought that's what he was.
The first with the Mad World.
Yeah,
it was a good song, But it's just like with the Seeger, with the Rendezvous with Death. It's like it was a story from when he was a poem about when he was in World War I, and he died there. So it's just.
And think about this: no one was talking about that song before. Like that was a Tears of Fear song or Tears for Fear song like before that in the 80s. But then suddenly like everybody like was listening to that one song and thought that was the original song. And it probably went up the charts too, just because of that trailer.
That's crazy. Right. Man,
I wonder if that's the thing that started making slow versions of pop songs.
Their songs, yeah. Is that what started it? Because
even that version though, that was an old version that they played. That wasn't even the original.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like nowadays, we get like remixed, like slow versions of songs.
yeah,
like friggin'
Nirvana, Teen Spirit, and stuff.
well, come on.
Yeah,
in
nothing
Final
else
Fantasy,
matters.
they have that one song. What was it? What song was it?
Or Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Oh, in Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Shit.
it? That's in
Wait,
the game.
you know what pisses me off? I'm sure there's people that 9 Inch Nails. Okay, 9 Inch Nails created Hurt. Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know that. They think Johnny Cash.
They did Johnny Cash did it.
They think that's a Johnny Cash track.
No, that's a Johnny Cash song.
Make you.
No, you know,
it's
no,
not.
That's a Nine Inch Nails song, bro.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
See,
Yes.
see, this came up at my job
I
a few
hurt
weeks ago.
myself.
That's not. It's not supposed to sound like that. That's Johnny.
No.
That's the weird Johnny Cash version. Bro.
Yo, I'm done,
It's
yo.
like I hurt myself
He
today.
did that
That's how
song
it's
right
supposed
after
to
his
sound.
wife passed.
Yeah.
And so he said, "Can I cover this track?" And they were like, "Of course, Trent Reznor said."
I hurt myself today.
Yeah, there was a guy at my job and he was humming it, and then they were like, "Oh, you're doing that Johnny Cash song?" I was like, "Yeah, the Johnny Cash." I'm like, "Fuck, no, it's not a Johnny
That's
Cash.
9 Inch Nails, man.
Hey,
No.
like,
That song is
I thought it was
old.
a I thought it was a Johnny Cash song before I knew it was a 9 Inch Nails song. That's because I don't fucking listen to Trent Reznor.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
there you go.
That's
Man,
blasphemy.
we
No,
used to be
stop.
huge Nine Inch Nails fans. So we
I
knew that
still
shit.
am.
We still,
They
we
got
still,
a new album
yeah, they
coming
got a
out.
new album coming out. The funny thing is, it's like, man, damn it, god damn, it's the only one that anybody's like. I want to hear the real
Yeah,
one.
the Johnny Cash version is fucked up compared to the original one. You know, it's like
I like
this
the- I dig
gravelly
the-
old
I-
man.
I dig the- I
man.
dig
Hey,
the
you
Johnny-
were talking shit on Johnny Cash before
I
I
dig-
come out there.
I dig the Johnny Cash cover,
I
but
don't know.
I still enjoy the Trent Reznor one because it feels a lot more lonely than
It feels
Cash
lonely.
one.
It feels
I just like it
pretty.
because it's better. That's why.
You can have it all.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to sound. Like, man, you ain't heard your stuff. You don't even listen to Nine Inch Nails. That's
I
the same
love
stuff
Nine
that's
Inch
covered.
Nails. They're my favorite band.
You know
Like,
what would have
you
been
know-
funny?
Yeah.
If they put that song on the Last of Us 2 trailer. The
Oh
unveil.
my god, yeah. All right, Manny, favorite trailer of all time.
Favorite trailer. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Shadow of the Colossus one.
Ooh, I don't remember that one.
That one was pretty impressive. It had a lot of, it had that really cool epic music in it, and it was just real exciting, to have that. To also, to finally have another game by the Team Ico guys. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Brian, what you got?
But that Metal Gear Solid trailer, the Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer, that first one's pretty awesome though.
Yeah, my answer is pretty much very simple. It's the God of War 3 Vengeance trailer, which I believe was the second trailer.
Oh
for the game.
yeah.
Was that the live action one?
Which one was that?
No, the Vengeance one, where they showed gameplay for the first time, if I remember correctly.
Was that the ED trailer?
For which God of War game?
God of War 3.
Oh, I'll get to my answer in a bit, but this is proving a point I'm going to bring up. But anyway, go ahead. Okay, so that's your favorite. Brett, what about you, man? You're muted, bro. You're like hardcore muted too. You got the there you go. You're good now.
There we go. I'm trying to think. I want to say the trailers that got me the most excited were for games that necessarily didn't pan out to be the best.
Uh-oh.
I thought the trailer for Rage was really good. I also and you guys remember the first trailer for Dead Island?
Yeah, I remember that shit. That was like,
Oh yeah, where everything was like backwards.
Yeah, that trailer was awesome. But
Whoever does their trailers is pretty awesome. They just need to get good games out of them.
yeah. By the way, okay, I was sitting here because I got this question like 6 hours ago, actually more than that, and I was like, I don't know the answer because most trailers to me, I forget them the instant I see them. They don't leave a lasting impression on me, right? I was just about to say that, and then I just remember what trailer, like really, when I saw it for the first time, blew my fucking mind. The first trailer for Mortal Kombat. Remember that shit with the kids running down Wall Street?
I mean, the commercial.
Yeah, man, that shit was hype. That's like the only, like the other trailers, like, they don't game trailers don't do anything for me. I like seeing gameplay, So yeah, but that Mortal Kombat one, even though it didn't have any gameplay, I remember as a kid, like I was waiting for Mortal Kombat to come to consoles forever. I was like, come on, when's it coming? When's it coming? So seeing that shit got me crazy, man. So that's mine. I guess it's a commercial, but it's a fucking trailer. They didn't have trailers back then.
I mean, yeah.
Oh man,
Mortal Kombat.
that's crazy. All right, we had a question here from Riku-san One, the only one of the
Man.
originals from Throwdown. This is a very good question, actually. This is another one I thought about and I finally got an answer for. What is the difference between an open world game and a sandbox game?
I know
Very
this,
good question.
but I want to hear Tony's answer.
Go for it.
Until maybe, before we started the show, Brett, I didn't have an answer. I'm like, what's the difference? There's the same fucking thing. There's absolutely no difference. Open world, sandbox, interchangeable. Then I thought about, wait. Minecraft, right? That's sandbox. It's just, here's a bunch of shit. Go crazy. Do what you want. Open world is an actual world that was built, by a development team, deliberately built, with like towns and all this other shit. You could traverse it, side missions, all this other stuff. So I guess open world is more regulated, whereas a sandbox is just, here's a bunch of shit, go nuts. So that's my answer.
I can simplify it a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. Am I on the right track though? Because I could be wrong.
Kind of, yeah. All sandbox games are generally open world. Not all open world games are sandbox. And
there you go. I like that.
The difference really comes down to whether or not you can create your own objectives. Minecraft, you can create your own objectives, or whether or not you're like Final Fantasy is a great example of an open world game. You can go to all these different quest locations. You can participate in all these different things, but there are set quest destinations. There are set quest locations. There are set things to do, and then you're done. A sandbox game generally has a kind of open-ended nature to it. That doesn't mean it can't have a campaign that runs through it, but it means that you can kind of create your own goals. That's why I would almost call the new Fallout, like Fallout 4 is a sandbox game, whereas Fallout 3 was an open world game, because you can go off track in Fallout 4. You can go do whatever you want. And sandbox refers to just an area to play in. It's an area that you can have fun and play freely in. An open world game refers to a game with a large three-dimensional world in which you can traverse freely, but not necessarily that you can make your own fun in.
Yeah. So again, just to clarify, so every sandbox game is an open world game, but not every open world game is a sandbox game. Just to clarify.
There might be a few exceptions, like you could have like a game like Besieged, which could be considered a kind of sandboxy game, but even then, you're making an object to destroy things, so it's not really a sandbox. You still have an objective. You're not making your own fun. The best games,
question.
Like GTA has both. It's like GTA sandbox for the standalone and online open world.
Yeah, the best games are both. GTA, Fallout 4, I would say, covers both. And that's the thing that I always try and impart is I love a good sandbox element in an open world game. If you give me just an open world game, it's not much better than a linear game. If I can't do stuff with the space, I'm not super interested in the space.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody else want to jump in on this? What's the difference? Or do I think I personally think we just got it.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Brett.
Yeah. And by the way, Riku was inspired to ask this question because Dynasty Warriors 9 was announced, and it's going to be an open world game. And he was wondering, is this going to be the kind of open world that he considers open world? I don't know what that means, but he said he does want to be on Throwdown soon to talk about that and other shit.
The thing is that Riku. The thing about open world games in Japan don't mean like you can do anything. It just means you just need to run to your objective rather than the game teleporting you there to your next objective.
It also gives you the option to embark on side quests. Like that's the big thing between like a linear game and an open world game and a sandbox game. Is a linear game, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. An open world game gives you the option to go A and then side quest 1, 2, then B, C, side quest 3, 4.
Here's the thing, about like RPGs in general, like at least from like I want to say from Final Fantasy 9 all the way up to Final Fantasy 9, all those games are semi-open world because yes, you did have your straight reign of storyline things, storyline points that you needed to hit, but the game also didn't hold your hand to go in that same direction. You didn't need to always go in that same direction. You could always do side quests. You always could skip a town.
Yeah, but it's still like, think about it, like it's still in a certain order. Like you still receive these side quests, and even the new Final Fantasy, like you still get the side quests when it's level appropriate for you to. It's still setting a very linear kind of narrative versus some things where, like, I don't know what's on the bottom left side of the map. Like in an open world game, the bottom left side of the map may be where all the strongest monsters are. In a sandbox game, it's going to be, I don't know what the fuck's over there. Like all the biggest monsters, they're just spread around. Like you may, and see, the thing a lot of people have a problem with is a true sandbox game has inherent unfairness to it that I don't think a lot of game audiences are prepared to take. Like the fact that you might see a giant monster, be like, fuck that, I need to run. Like the fact that you can't win every battle. So a lot of games shy away from the idea of sandboxing, either because they don't have the processing power, or because it's tough to make your own fun unless you can change your landscape, or unless you can deal with AI coming at you from different directions or something like that. So yeah, I think I'm about done now.
Yeah, I think we covered that pretty well. All right, moving on. Dio. All right, out of all the games released on either gaming platform this year, which one delivers the best storyline that you got the most out of? Please explain, and would you recommend this title to others? So yeah, what game had the best story this year?
Uncharted 4.
What games were released this year? My memory.
Games that had the best story.
Yeah, which game did you play? Did you feel had the best story? So Adam's is Uncharted 4. Definitely a very good story. I'm trying to think of another one besides that, because that's the only one that comes to mind.
Tomb Raider wasn't too bad.
But that was last year.
That was last year, though.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say Final Fantasy, but it fell apart at the end.
Yeah.
Hey, shut up. Don't say that.
You'll see, Brett. Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying, don't go any further. I want to say that I should put Dark Souls in this category, but by the very nature of its vagueness and its DLC not having come out, the story is still pretty open-ended, so I can't. So for all those people who are like, oh, why isn't Dark Souls coming out of Brett's mouth, including if Chris weren't here, like the story isn't wrapped up enough. Like there's some really cool elements, but there's like one puzzle piece missing before, and I'm hoping that it places right, but it may just be totally disappointing.
But let's be honest, most games, even if they're good or not, don't really have that great storylines.
Well, Dark Souls really has, and like it's got this, like, for instance, the final, like the last flame in the first game, when you reignite it, like it's explosive, like and this is a big lore thing going on in the community. Like it's this big explosive thing that like half melts the entire city, and you see like stalagmites shooting off vertically or horizontally, like where they're melted wax in like a windstorm. And so when you reignite it in the third game, you don't really get to see it in the second game. In the third game, it's just this little kind of poofed. And so you realize that the cycle can't be going on. And so it either ends up the cycle is going to die and everything is ultimately transient and pointless, or it's going to be there's this mechanic that reveals like what happened to the primordial servants, and like there's so many things up in the air that it's a really, really good story. It's the danger of tying up a trilogy. And if you've been holding, like, it's almost like watching the last season of Lost. You're like, oh my god, are they gonna fucking wrap this up, or is it just gonna be I don't know vagueness? Because if it turns into I don't know vagueness, then the whole thing's gonna fall apart. But if they do and there's even some really good fan theories that would wrap it up really, really well.
Well, the funny thing about Lost, it's neither of those.
Yeah, it's neither of those. But it was very unsatisfying.
Yes.
What a piece of shit. All right. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. Yeah, go ahead.
I think Titanfall 2.
Yeah, that's fine. You can go with that.
It was a good story, but it was fun to play. I don't know if the story.
Well, this is all opinions. What did you personally think?
No, I'm not saying it's an amazing story.
Yeah.
But okay, in terms of just a story, it was well structured. It progressed fine. There was no point in which you're like, wait, what the fuck am I doing and why am I doing this? Like, it was a clear, well-paced story, and at the end, like I cared about my robot. Like, so it's a solid B, and I don't know that anything else gets above a solid B this year.
Yeah, this year was kind of rough in the story department. Good games this year, but story-wise, I'm gonna go with Uncharted 4, but I guess
That's
I'm
by
gonna give
default.
Yeah, it's by default, yeah, but I'm going to give just a little bit of a shout out to Deus Ex Mankind. It wasn't as good as Human Revolution, but I like the story regardless,
I didn't play this game, but what about Quantum Break?
It was good. It was a good story too. I liked it how the science in it was really good, but I just felt the characters in it were boring. That was the main problem with it. But the story itself, the actual time mechanics were really good, because it's like when you do time travel stories, really easy to fuck that up. This one, they actually stayed consistent with the rules they set up. So in that sense, it was good, but I just felt the characters were a little bit kind of boring,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's just been shit out this year.
Yeah, it was a good year for games, better than it has been for this whole generation. But story-wise, not so much.
Oof,
I know some
not
guys are going
really.
to. Some guy, well, Brett, for example, last year when I had to come up with my personal top 10, I came up with 7, and I had to throw 3 fillers in there just to come up with 10. This year, I have solid 10 and then 5 runner-ups. I'm like, oh, this year was pretty good. I played 15 games I actually liked.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
shoot me off 5 games that you really like this.
Sure. I got a list here too. Far Cry Primal, Quantum Break, Uncharted 4, Doom, Deus Ex, Gears of War, Titanfall, Watch Dogs, Final Fantasy, Last Guardian. That's 10. That's my top 10, actually. Not in order, but that's my top 10. And then, there's Ratchet and Clank, there's Dark Souls, there's Banner Saga. There's a couple
Banner
other games.
Saga this year?
Banner Saga 2 was this year, man. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they came out with a second one.
Yeah, man. It was really good.
I feel like you said most of the big games, although you didn't throw Hitman in there.
No, because I didn't get to play it, but I did. I bought it because they finally came out with it. I didn't get to play
Hitman
that.
was on my list.
I didn't get to play Dishonored 2. That was another big one that came out. And you know me, I don't really mess around with those like military games. I didn't care about Battlefield or Call of Duty. I didn't care about those. This year was pretty good. Like compared to the last couple of years for this generation that have been shit. This was a pretty good year, I felt. And there's a bunch of indie games I didn't even touch, like Bound and fucking Oxenfree.
You played Inside?
That's another one. I bought it. I didn't buy, play, but I heard that's an excellent game.
That's my game of the year.
Nice. Is that your best story too, or
no? It doesn't have a story actually.
Oh, okay.
It's just like
it
one of
has
those.
a story, just kind of not, in your face.
Yeah, let's switch over to Brian real quick, because I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a unique answer. What's your best story of the year?
Oh, Tony, you didn't know what game has like the best story of the year, Tony.
Yes, I know the answer. I know what you're gonna say.
Wow, that story. Oof, man. Best story of the year. Senran Kagura Estebel person.
Yes.
But no, seriously, I honestly have no idea, because like you guys, I didn't play much this year. Or like Brett, I just didn't pick up on much this year. But so I can't really say much.
Yo, but Sengun Kagura though, man.
I thought the Division was going to have a great story until we got to the end.
Man.
And when we got to the end, it was like
a good story.
That's a good premise.
Yeah,
But
that's me. Like the best part of the Division is the story that you don't get to play, which is what happens from like day 0 to like how shit got fucked up.
yeah.
Like that sounds good from what I hear, but you just play like the aftermath, and that match is kind of ass.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's guys in hoodies that take like 10 shots to the face like kill.
Yeah, fucking bum.
How is the story of The Last Guardian?
It's a Team Ico story where it's like, not really there, kind of.
It's
So
there,
what
but
the
it's
fuck
not
is the
there.
point? Like, okay, so I guess I totally just missed some Team Ico games. Like, if it's not like the ambiance and it's not the story,
It has that.
It has the ambiance. It has a very kind of it's really the game is really about the connection between you and the creature.
Think about Shadow of the Colossus. That didn't have a great story.
I know. And like
it
when people are
literally-
like, I love Shadow of the Colossus, it's like somebody said, I just ate a delicious pine cone. And I'm like, okay, you have to have a good reason for saying that. I just like, what about it is it that you kind of gain this kind of bond with this animal, and like so it's like a Tamagotchi kind of thing?
It's
No, it's
almost
just like a
like
pet. You and a
it's like a
pet,
pet,
you know?
like having a cat or a dog. That's like in you. It kind of plays on those things that you have when you have a cat or a dog, where you want to protect it from things, you want to stop it from things, even knowing this thing could literally, destroy anything around you, but you still feel that kind of connection, like it's
You can't say there's a story. I mean, granted, it has more story than all the other Team Ico games combined. There's actually a narrative.
Yeah,
but
there's
it's not like not like heavy or anything. It's very simple,
Yeah,
it's very interpersonal connection / drama.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
like
so,
you don't.
it's a connection between you and this animal, basically.
The thing is, and there's in the world, like you find things, but obviously there's no explanation for them because you're not fucking Dark Souls. You can't pick up a weapon and it tells you, the legend of this world. You're walking through this world and you're like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, but obviously something happened. You look around, it's like, okay, there's a story here. Yeah. I'm just not going to discover it,
Yeah, exactly.
Like the environment telling you a story.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing that's constant with every single one of the Team Ico games. So it's like in Ico, can you really say what's up with that queen or with the girl that you're saving?
Yeah.
The only thing you know is that girl, the queen wants to steal the girl, and you want to get out of there, and she's kind of the only way you can get out of there because she's the only one who can open the doors.
Yeah, and then with Shadow Colossus, like, okay, you need to revive this girl for some apparent reason.
Yeah,
you don't know why.
You don't know why. She could be your sister. She could be your wife. You just know that you're there to destroy these things, so to grant some sort of wish.
Yeah. Anyway, Manny, since you're talking, what was your favorite story of the year?
Favorite story of the year? I guess I'm gonna have to go with Uncharted.
Yeah, that's like the default one.
Because I mean, I would also maybe say The Last Guardian for the fact that the connection with Trico does make you feel things for it. But other than that, I can't really say anything else. Oh, I can't say Republic because Republic's an old game.
That's an old game. Yeah, you can't do that. Carlos, you already went, right?
Yeah, Uncharted.
Uncharted. All right. Next question. Okay, what was the worst game-breaking bug / glitch you've ever experienced that completely took you out of the immersion completely? Did you ever go back?
Yeah, you were playing that game, Tony.
Yeah, you mean Fallout? But I beat that shit.
No, I'm talking about The Last Guardian.
Oh yeah, I mean the game didn't have glitches. There's had weird mechanics, My answer, the first one that popped up, because I didn't finish the game because of this stupid fucking glitch. Jurassic Park on Super Nintendo, right? It was the first person mode. I'm trying to leave the elevator, and it seemed like when the elevator closed, my shirt got stuck on it or something. Like I couldn't move forward. I'm like, okay, fuck this shit. I was frustrated with the game for like 2.5 hours. I'm like, I'm done with this bullshit. Never went back to it. That was game breaking because I literally couldn't move forward. Like door closed and I couldn't move. Very weird.
I'm actually going to tell you literally. Well, it's literally about The Last Guardian for me. I had a glitch with where the kid couldn't pick anything up. Like he'd do the action to pick something up, but he wouldn't. He would do the animation of carrying it, but he would never have the thing in his hand.
That's crazy.
It literally locked me in this room. Luckily, I reset the game from scratch and turned the console off and turned it back on, and then everything went back to normal. But yeah, it's like one of those. It's that one room where you have to lift those planks off the doors. There's these two doors that you can lift these planks off the doors, and then you got to bring this kind of like urn with this blue gas or food inside of it to bring it to Trico to pull this thing. And that would never work. I also didn't pick up the item either. Like she would do the thing and never work. So that's
crazy.
But it only impeded me at that one point. I've never had a glitch in a game that literally stopped me from playing the game altogether.
All right, Carlos, what about you, man?
This happened to me recently. I was playing Titanfall 2 campaign. And the PC version, and it crashed on me like 3 times in a row. And after the third time, I'm like, "Fuck! I'm just gonna play something else," and haven't gone back to it, man.
I do have to say when my girlfriend wanted to play Heavy Rain, for some reason, all the updates of it made the game run like shit on the PlayStation 3. Like, so whenever we would start the game up and we play for a little bit, it would randomly turn the console off.
Whoa.
Yeah, and and my girlfriend got so frustrated with it, she just stopped pulling, didn't even want to play the game anymore.
Man, that's crazy. All right, Brian, what about you?
I don't think I've actually had one, as far as I can remember. I've had
You
one.
know why, Brian?
What's that?
Master
Because
Race?
you're a PC gamer.
No, I played on console as well.
No. I'm just saying because you're a PC gamer. Like, I find myself sitting here being like, what game have I played that the game has been so broken that I put it down? Oh, none, because I play alphas. Like, I got my bootstraps and I just man through that shit. Like, I can't think of a game that's been rendered unplayable.
That Batman on PC, the Batman was it a Dark Knight? That was completely broken. They had to pull it.
Did you play it, Adam?
No, I didn't get that one. It's like I was about to get it on Steam and then they pulled it next day.
You're talking about Arkham City?
Yeah, Arkham Knight.
No,
Arkham Knight.
Yeah, that was fun. They finally fixed it, but yeah, crazy.
But no one cares.
You know.
I also have to mention another one that happened to me. This was with Metal Gear Solid 2, and I literally returned 2 copies of the game until I got one that actually worked. The game would literally freeze in the tanker section when Revolver Ocelot is having that when Revolver Ocelot is saying, "No, I'll take it back." You ever notice that it kind of weirdly repeats itself for some reason?
Oh, it does?
Yeah, he goes, no, I'm taking it back. That is the point when the damn game would glitch and freeze.
Crazy.
And it happened on two different copies of the same game.
Well, I have a sort of
what's yours, man?
Skate 3. So I got this is on the 360. So I picked up Skate. I always had Skate 1, 2, and I picked up the third one. And one of the things that it said was like, "Oh yeah, would you like to import your character?" Right? So I'm like, "Yeah, import your friends." I'm like, "Yeah, import them from 2 to 3." And there was this one tournament. I forgot what the name of the tournament was, but it would load up, and I would hear everything, but I wouldn't see anything. And I couldn't understand why. And then I uninstalled the game, reinstalled, it still wouldn't work, And so eventually I brought it back to GameStop, and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you another one. We don't know what's going on, right? Maybe something with the disc." They give me another one. Same damn thing happens. So then I go online. I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I found a shitload of forums. It turns out that like particular outfits, like a certain shirt and a certain pants, was not carried over into 3. So when you import from 2 to 3, which brings your character, it's not just the way you design them, it's also the gear. Well, if you had that particular shirt, or if one of your friends that you imported had that shirt or pants, it pretty much fucks up the game at that point.
Wow.
So you can't do the tournaments and you can't progress, and you just have to shut the damn game down. Right.
Or just make a new character, right?
Yeah, or create a new character. So what I did was, when I loaded up, this time I deleted all my friends, and then I changed my clothes, and then I went to that tournament, and I was able to do the tournament. And then the game worked after that.
All right. So, Brian, you guys don't have any, right?
The Assassin's Creed Unity was.
Oh, yeah,
that was another one.
That was damn near unplayable.
You remember the first part where you had to chase the guy down and tackle him?
Yes.
I couldn't tackle him. Every time I pressed the button to grab, he would reach around him, and he just couldn't connect. And then I just stopped. I was like, forget it.
That's some bullshit. All right, next question. This is a fun one. Okay, what are your top 5 things in entertainment? This could be music, movies, comics, whatever, that y'all are gearing up for in 2017. So what are you guys looking forward to?
For me, it's Gravity Rush 2. And there's another one that got delayed. I'm excited to play the new Dragon Quest.
Oh, yes, me too. It's finally on PS4.
Yeah.
Hey, the last time we had a proper Dragon Quest on a console was Dragon Quest. All right, man, you got 3 more things. It could be movies, music, whatever,
Music, it's kind of weird. We're kind of, me and Tony are kind of out of it when it comes to music as of now.
Yeah, don't worry. I got one for you when it's my turn.
Okay. Is it a new Symphony X album?
No, it's not. There's not, that shit's not coming out for another 4
5 years, right? Anyway, Then that was a what was it? And then
Yeah, you got 2 so far.
So movies, I don't know. Comics, I don't know, because I don't read comics anymore.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know what the last one is. There's got to be another game coming out that's coming up that was delayed, right? There was 2.
Mass Effect.
Not really caring about that. I don't know. I get a bad feeling about that game. I have a bad feeling about that.
Don't.
Right, I'll go then since.
Go ahead. I can only think of 2.
Okay, so I came up with one thing for each medium, just to make it fun. So for games, I got Red Dead Redemption 2, right?
That's not 27. Oh wait, is it? Yeah,
they said.
Okay, I mean, I guess they announced it right when it's about ready, huh?
I'm pretty sure it's gonna get delayed, but that's what they said. For music, Iced Earth, one of my favorite bands, is coming out with the new album finally, so I'm looking forward to that. For anime, you already know my answer. Attack on Titan season 2, baby. Man. Okay, for comics, DC's finally gonna have like their big rebirth, like giant story, like because remember they've been teasing who set all this shit up, right? They're finally gonna, have a mega crossover, and I like what DC's doing. They're not having a million crossovers like fucking Marvel, one a year, And then the last one for movies, I didn't pick the typical suspects like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or the new Star Wars or anything like that, or Spider-Man. Didn't pick that because I know somebody's gonna pick that. I picked Skull Island, man, King Kong. So that's my 5. All right, Adam, what you got?
For music, 9 Inch Nails.
Nice.
That's coming, so I'm looking forward to that. For games, same thing was like Red Dead and Mass Effect. Those are the 2. For movies, Guardians. That one, I like the first one. The second one should be pretty good. And for comics, Southern Bastards. If anyone's reading that, you should read it. It's fucking crazy. So crazy. But yeah, and then that's pretty much it.
All right, Carlos, I know you're a big media guy, so what do you got?
So for music, Guns N' Roses is coming to El Paso for the first time in 2017. So and September, man, those tickets sold out mad quick too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro.
But so that's for music, movies.
See, I like that concert. That's cool.
Did you hear that they've been bringing out a Trump pinata?
Oh, they're everywhere over here, man. Like they said,
the 9 Inch, what's called the Guns N' Roses had one.
Yo, what's inside the pinatas?
I don't know.
Russian nesting dolls.
Oh shit!
They had a bunch of it in Mexico. They brought them out on stage, and there's a video online showing.
They got toupees and shit in the. I don't know. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead, man. Keep going.
For movies, the new Blade Runner movie is supposed to come out next year, and that's going to be really interesting. Ridley Scott and Harrison Ford are back in that movie.
Wow,
actually,
really?
Ridley Scott is not directing that film.
Oh, it's not Ridley Scott?
No.
Oh, well, expectations are gone, aren't they?
No. It's
another really good director, though.
It's Denis Villeneuve or whatever. He's the guy that did Arrival.
Yeah.
He's really good. Yeah. No, Ridley Scott's coming back to do Alien Covenant. That's one of the movies he's coming back.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, after Prometheus, I don't know, man.
Prometheus.
So for comics, I'm gonna assume I could do manga in this. So next year, they just announced this in something called Jump Festa, which is like a anime expo or whatever in Japan.
Yeah, Fiesta, isn't it?
Or I think it's Festa. I don't know.
Okay.
So they said that One Piece next year is gonna have 3 arcs throughout the year, and that's like the last time that's happened is like back in the day. So like One Piece currently how it is, it's like in the second half of the story. So like we're getting to like the big shit. So next year's gonna have 3 like hype arcs. So I'm looking forward to that. Video games, Mass Effect and Horizon are probably my 2 most anticipated
Horizon,
games.
Man, let's go.
Horizon looks freaking amazing. Like I saw like the 4K video in 4K. Oh.
Yo, Carlos is so sweet, man. When it hits the lips, it's so good.
And you got to play it, man.
Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. I didn't get to play it in 4K, but I saw it in 4K right in front of my face. Fucking crazy. Okay, by the way, I just looked this up. I'm very disappointed. For years, I've been calling it Jump Fiesta. Nope, Festa. What kind of bullshit is that, man?
That's like the Berenstein Bears and the Berenstein Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And Brett dropped off. Oh well. Brian, 5 things you're looking forward to next year.
I have nothing.
Wow, nothing. Damn, no movies, no Guardians or Spider-Man or nothing.
I don't know. Like as Maggie says,
Episode 8,
keep your
nothing.
expectations low. Like
I saw-
put your expectations. That's what I'm doing. It's like, you know what? If it's good, then it's going to be good. If
All right.
not, then I lose nothing.
I'll say something real quick. When
Yeah.
I was watching Rogue One, one of the trailers for it, and I saw it in the big screen, like I saw it before, but War for the Planet of the Apes looks freaking
Ooh,
crazy,
give me that
man.
shit. Yes.
Yo. Man.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready for that.
Well,
shit.
I do have one other thing, but it's
Yeah, go
Switch
ahead. You were
related.
actually missing one, Adam. So yeah, go ahead, fill up
Alright,
his
so-
space.
Yeah, for me, it's Wayne Rooney, who plays for United, and he's just been an amazing player. And this has not been a good season, and now they're talking about getting rid of him. And he was like the franchise, like what David Beckham was for that club. So I'm looking forward to see where he ends up.
So we get to cheat. All right, so Real Madrid might actually win La Liga for the first time in like almost 10 years.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win. Yeah, Real Madrid.
Hilarious. All right.
Yeah. We're gonna Ronaldo winning that Ballon d'Or again.
Reinaldo.
No, he already won it.
Yeah, it's always winning.
His name is Bariaga.
Bariaga 2, Ariaga, Aruglia. All right, Brett, what you got, man?
Meh.
Man, no episode 8 for you. No Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, man, I'm still in that place where I'm not really excited about anything.
Understandable. You know your boys are gonna go see episode 8 with you, man. You work for that tattoo shop with the
I'm sure I'm gonna see episode 8. I'm sure I'm probably gonna see the new Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, I'm still just kind of this. I have a limit. Like my first thought is like, hey, what are you excited about? I'd be like, nothing. Life is just a slow meandering shuffle towards the bleak inevitability of death that awaits us all.
Fucking emo shit, but understandable too. You know.
Not even just emo, just like nihilistic dark bull. Like, oh god, I hate nihilism, but I'm just I don't fucking care. So I'm sure I'll get there. Stuff looks cool. But as of right now, like my hope is broken. So I'm like, I'm not really looking forward to anything. I'm sure as stuff comes out, I'll be like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. I don't have that motivation. I'll get there, folks. I promise I won't be a depressing asshole forever.
All right, you get the pass, my brother. All right, moving on here, Big Daddy. All right, what was the worst? Yeah, Big Daddy X. I like this one. What was the worst movie of 2016? You already know.
Let me go first, man.
All right, you go first.
It's not Batman v Superman.
Yes, it is. By the way,
it's not Batman v Superman.
No. I want to hear what Carlos's is.
Okay.
Who asked this question?
It was Big Daddy X.
Why did you ask this question? Like, you do know that we are now going to talk about this film again after the show again. After
but now we're doing it during the show.
Yeah, that was like an hour after the show. It's just
Yeah, you guys-
Suicide Squad or Batman.
That happened all the time for 3 months straight. Anyway, Carlos, go ahead. What was the worst movie of the year for you?
The worst movie of the year was definitely Suicide Squad that I watched. Man, Suicide Squad was such a huge letdown, especially since coming after BVS. Like, we already know that BVS was a disappointment, but Suicide Squad had no, like, one or maybe two redeeming qualities to the movie. Like, Deadshot was okay, but not even Deadshot. Like, Deadshot wasn't even Deadshot most of the movie. Like, the dude just spent the whole movie as Will Smith without, like how much screen time did he even have?
Is that who Will Smith was supposed to be?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like it was like Deadshot, but like his real character, his like his human character, not his persona or his fucking like villain character. And the freaking villain was horrible in that movie. It was freaking Enchantress and that other dude, which was fucking ridiculous. Like, why is the Suicide Squad even fighting these people? And she just started freaking dancing in a freaking light beam pole.
Can we even talk about Jared Leto for a second?
Yeah, he was horrible.
Okay, here's my question, and I seriously mean this because to me it sounds like this sounds like a way better idea, but I can't believe that I would just I'd be that much better at writing the movies than them. Okay, so in the DC universe right now, Joker is missing. Am I correct in this,
In
or
the
is
comics?
this all myself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you play on that in the movie and have Jared Leto not be Joker, but be a copycat who has moved in the vacuum of power left behind by Joker's disappearance? Have him be a gangbanger, have him be violent and cruel, but not have quite the same brilliance that the Joker has. Have him be a poor copycat who tries to make up with it with violence, and suddenly you're starting to build a world with legacy. I would be really interested, like if you were like Jared Leto played some character called the Jester or just Jester, and he was trying to be the Joker, like some Kylo Ren motherfucker, but didn't make it very well. Like that would be an intriguing storyline that I would then go see. But as it stands, you're like, no, that motherfucker with the metal teeth, that's Joker, and you're like, no.
They couldn't do that because it would make too much sense.
Man, the Joker character in this movie is so horrible, man. Like they try to make him like a Joe Pesci kind of character in any of the Scorsese movies, but with a freaking Ace Ventura like personality, man. It was fucking horrible. And like not only that, but the way the characters were introduced and the way like I watched Rogue One. Like Rogue One had like a lot of characters too. And we got to know them by the stuff that they did, not by what they told us explicitly. It's like, oh, this is Katana. Her sword steals the souls of all his victims. I'm like, yeah, what they fucking do? I want to see this, like the movie do this. I don't want you to tell me. Like, we're not stupid enough to not recognize character traits and archetypes when we like watch the characters on the big screen, man. It's fucking horrible. Like you guys are gonna say Batman v Superman, but Batman v Superman had like some great scenes. Like yeah, the story's all jungled up, like fucked up, but there were some good scenes. Like all the fight scenes were great. That's like some of the best fight scenes we've ever seen in a DC movie. Period. Not just like fucking superheroes. Like fucking that Batman scene where he's fucking everyone up, man. That shit was fucking ridiculous. But Suicide Squad had nothing that was like redeeming about it. And like even Harley Quinn, like she was cool. Like I like Margot Robbie, but her character doesn't really serve a purpose. Like she's just there to be a sex item.
She's there to hold the movie up. Like I've asked several people who have defended this movie. Who have been like, so really is it? They're like, well, it's not all bad. I was like, okay, take Harley Quinn out of the movie, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, now how was the movie? And they're like, oh, it was terrible. I was like, see, you just have a thing for Harley Quinn. Like that held up a good chunk of the movie. Is just people like, oh, somebody who looks like Harley Quinn in a new costume. But even then, like, and I haven't seen it. I have not seen it, but I had heard that they don't even really do a fair amount of justice to her origin story. And this is where I get like, I guess I get upset about the whole thing. Like, you could have done the same thing with Bane. You can pay, like, Marvel has overdone origins, but DC like doesn't do a really good job of other than like redoing Batman every couple years, not really showing people's origins in a very dramatic or good way, just from the point of like, hey, here's a guy and now he's a fucking supervillain. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I'd love to see DC move in a way in their franchises where maybe they're starting to regard their characters as old. Maybe you're starting to see, like the second generation. Maybe you see, some of the fucking Titans or some of that kind of stuff show up in Batman's story. Like I don't know. I'd like to see second generation villains. I'd like to see people inspired by, like, especially if you're going to go through inventing new villains that are inspired by Bane. Like, how about you actually make it a new copycat villain that was inspired by Bane's? How about having actual legacy villains? Like somebody found Bane's equipment, or somebody mentored or studied under Bane in prison, or some shit like that. Like, pay attention to the richness of your world instead of just writing over it with shallow shit. I mean, Will Smith is the perfect allegory for this. Like, you could have built a character in there. Instead, you just shoved Will Smith in a suit and went, be Will Smith.
Yeah, it's like, was this some kind of Suicide Squad? Get the hell out of here, man.
Did he do a song for the movie, by the way?
I don't know. I doubt it. But anyways, like, done it. Like, and Rick Flag, like, that dude, like, that actor was not that good, and his old character was the only purpose he served was for exposition, like to tell you what was going on. And man, Diablo was like an emo mess, and Amanda Waller was supposed to be like the smartest person in the room, but ended up being like dumb as hell. I like Viola Davis.
I'm Amanda Waller.
Yeah. I like this whole segment. We just let Carlos vent, because he really hated his movie. All right, now I think the rest of us, the answer is fucking Batman and Superman. There's a reason for that. Okay, you have the reason why this movie, for me, the most egregious crime is the movie only exists to shove the DC universe down your throat. Instead of giving every character individual movies aside, no, we're gonna shove them all into this one movie, this ham-fisted movie that didn't need to fucking exist. And then what making it worse is they didn't have respect for the characters. And I'm gonna say now, because this movie's been out for fucking ever. You have Batman running around killing people. They didn't even address that. It's like, oh yeah, he's kind of fucked up now. He's killing people. Fucked up, totally betraying the Batman character. Superman, a character who's supposed to inspire hope. All that character development he had in Man of Steel, completely gone. He's this mopey asshole. People blaming him for killing people with bullets somehow. Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg, he's a horrible actor in general, but in this, he made the worst version of Lex Luthor you ever seen in your life. Very insulting. The plot, they had a plot, but it just didn't make any fucking sense when you try to break it down. And while the movie did have very good and excellent fight scenes, you didn't feel
he turned into Doomsday.
Oh my god, yeah.
What the fuck?
It is so stupid. They basically take Zod's corpse and they make it a fucking zombie Doomsday. That's what it is. But basically, all the cool fights in this movie didn't mean shit because you didn't care about the characters, and all the situations that led to the fights were stupid. Even the cool scene. Whoa, I'll let you go on with Suicide Squad.
No, I thought you were gonna pause. That's why I was like,
no. Like even the best fight scene for me was Batman fucking those dudes up. Why was he there? Because he figured out, our moms have the same fucking name. I'm gonna go rescue her. It's so dumb, such a bullshit. And and the thing is, like, you're not supposed to go
Tony, I just have to. I was watching a Teen Titan, or I was watching a Teen Titans Go recently, and they actually said, "Hey, do you guys want to go see that new movie about the dudes with the two dudes with the moms named Martha?" And it popped up like this little movie poster of Batman and Superman, and each one had like an old woman above them, and it had like Martha, and then like arrows drawn to the two old ladies.
That's brilliant.
Like even they're making fun of their own things.
Yeah, and then the thing is, when you leave a superhero movie, you're supposed to kind of feel, even if it's like a darker one, you're supposed to feel kind of good about it. Like, I wanted to kill myself after this fucking movie. Like, oh my god, it was so depressing, so dark. There was no levity in it. There was like one line that actually made me laugh. The one was like, "Hey, is she with you?" No, I thought she was with you. That's like the only, and there was the other line. Hey, I'm your son's friend. Oh, I could tell by the cape. Only two lines that were funny in this movie. Then you have the whole and I'm spoiling the fuck out of this movie. I don't care. The whole Wonder Woman shit, she didn't need to be in that movie. And then it's like, let's stop the whole movie right now so Batman could go take a nap and we can see shit that's gonna happen in other movies. Let's stop the whole movie so Wonder Woman can look at a fucking laptop and look at trailers for the next couple movies. So fucking stupid.
It's like you leave them alone. You leave them alone for too long, and they start to reminisce about other movies that outside of their own.
And then the final thing I'm gonna say before I jump it off to the next guy. It's like, as a comic book fan, I was extremely insulted by this fucking movie. Like, you guys had the chance to make the greatest movie of all time, Batman versus Superman. This should have been the fucking shit, and you ruined it on every way possible. There's like almost nothing redeeming about this movie. And I think the problem with this movie is like, they could have done something good, but they fucking didn't, because they decided, you know what? Let's just force everything down everybody's throat. Instead of letting these things grow naturally the way Marvel did, let's just ham-fist it down everybody's fucking throat and do it in the most morose, dark way possible. That's not even remotely fun. So yeah, that movie fucking insulting as shit. Fuck Batman versus Superman.
I think I said this before, said this off the air once. I with Tony talking about the whole fact that Batman kills people in the friggin' movie, right? The thing is that could have been a contention point between Superman and Batman. Superman learned that killing, you're not, what it means to kill somebody. Batman killing somebody, it's him going over the edge. It's him betraying his credo, not to use guns, not to, that's the weapon of the enemy, to kill somebody. That's also you're not supposed to do that. So I would see this Batman that's murdering criminals, right, as a Batman over the edge who needs to realize that he is wrong, and that could have been the reason why they're fighting in this film.
Yeah, Manny, was that your worst movie of the year?
Oh yeah, sure, that's it. Right there.
All right, Brian, quick thoughts. What's your worst movie? Brian's off playing Warcraft. My bad. Warframe. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah. We have talked about Batman v Superman so many times now that I've just gone numb to it. Like anytime that someone just mentions it, I just turn off. Like, oh, Batman v Superman. We're at it again. But yeah, you guys raised a lot of good points, and yeah, that film. I don't know. The film had such promise because it's Batman v Superman, and they could have done a lot better. Like even the film itself, like there's actually a really good film in there if you remove a lot of the crap. Like a seriously really great film there, but no, there's lots of crap. And Carlos, I understand what you're saying about Suicide Squad, but I think Batman v Superman is just a lot more disappointing because it had good expectations.
Yeah, by the way, Carlos, just so you know, everything you said about Suicide Squad, I don't disagree with a single shred of it. I completely agree with you. That movie was bad too, but the thing is, you went in expecting a complete piece of shit. When you went in to see Batman Superman, you were at least hoping to be good. With Suicide Squad, Batman set the bar so low. Suicide Squad, all they had to do was just give me 20 minutes of funny introductions that I was happy enough with that. Even though that movie was fucking bad too. That movie, it's like we're literally comparing one piece of shit to another piece of shit. This one smells little less than the other one, And Batman Superman, you know what it was? And Brett, you said this about something last week. It's ice cream with shit shavings in it. It's like, no, it doesn't matter if the ice cream is the best ice cream you ever had. It literally has shit shavings in it. It's gonna be fucking bad. It doesn't matter,
I'm trying to grade it on a curve though. Like the problem is that there's never really been a great Superman movie, in my opinion. Like,
you mean Christopher Reeve Superman? No,
I did not think that was a good Superman movie. I thought it was like, it was kind of hackney. Like it didn't strike me as the same Superman in the comics. It struck me as like this weird watered down version. Like it wasn't the same character that he had from the comics, and because they couldn't do it, this is the first time that they actually, like, the fight scenes were actually the first time that I felt like this was Superman fighting.
Yes.
And that doesn't necessarily make this a good Superman movie, but it's still, I think, one of the better Superman movies, just because there are certain things that you need to have in a movie to make it a good Superman movie. And I don't think special effects have caught up until now. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to talk shit on the old Superman movies because they were trying to do something that was ahead of their time. But that being said, I feel like this movie hit the nail on the head in some places more than any of the other Superman movies. But there was a slew of bad writing and bad, like, director decisions that muddied it up.
Yeah, just like you always say, because they try to give you their take on it, not the character's take. Look at Superman on Supergirl. He's excellent. You know why? Because they're trying to give you the guy from the comics. You know, they got it right. They weren't trying to give a different spin on Superman. It's like, no, you want Superman? Here's fucking Superman.
Well, the whole problem with this is they're trying to reap without sowing. Like they were trying to harvest without planting. They needed to have a trilogy of movies in which Batman and Superman slowly became accustomed to each other, slowly grew to know each other, and then had a point of impact that created this kind of friction between them. This catalyst that slowly grew into a rift.
Did it with Civil War? All that shit was building for
Exactly. And then that could have been the big payoff. And then they could have had a lot more moments in there. Like I remember, like I forget which animated movie I watched, but every time they introduced Batman, somebody would be like, "Holy shit, you're real!" Like I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Like everybody thought Batman was a myth before they met him. Like that would have been a great kind of thing to add to this. Like, but as it was, the movie felt rushed, and it felt rushed because you were trying to cram 3 movies into one, and you didn't give us the time to invest in the characters. And I think that was a big problem. Also, Jesse Eisenberg, the whole Doomsday thing. I don't necessarily have as much of a problem with the Batman using guns. And here's why. In retrospect, and after seeing it a couple of times, A, I'm not really sure that he killed anybody. And B, he doesn't carry guns, but he kind of like utilized other people's guns. And while that's not necessarily Batman canon, I've had enough talks with people while sitting around and be like, okay, but seriously, like if somebody's got an Uzi, just like grab it and like spray the room, like lay down some suppressive fire. Like you don't have to use guns. And I understand you have this idea that you don't want to shoot people, but you can still use it as a tool for like taking out cameras and like suppressive fire, even if you don't really carry them. So I don't think that that's great, but at the same time, like I feel like they went right up to the line and they didn't necessarily
I don't know. I mean,
and here's the problem though, and it's Zack Snyder not understanding Batman. He's like, oh yeah, this is based on The Dark Knight Returns, and in that book he killed people. He shot one guy in the head with a giant gun. I'm like, no, look at the book. He shoots the wall behind the guy to scare him, and in this same book, Batman literally grabs a gun, breaks it, and goes, no, we don't use these. These are the weapons of the enemy. I'm like, did you understand Batman? What the problem is, at the end of the day is Zack Snyder not really understanding who the fuck Batman is. It's like,
well, but I can understand
of Batman.
At least the point where he grabs the guy's semi-automatic gun and runs it down the wall in a line of suppressive fire. Like, I understand how that could get lost in translation, how somebody could be like, no, Batman is using a gun like a tool, not a weapon. He's not trying to shoot these people. He's simply hurting them around the room by, like firing kind of in the air. Like he's not intending to actually shoot anybody. So regardless, I'm not saying I agree with that, but I'm saying that falls kind of on the line enough that I've heard nerds argue about it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm glad you bring this up because nerds say Batman will never pick up a gun. No, he'll pick up a gun. He just won't kill somebody with a gun. He will use a gun if he needs to. He just won't kill somebody with a gun.
Well, no. In the future, his flash forward dream, he pulls out two guns. Yeah. And he flashes forward. And uses 2 guns on all these guys who are obviously human.
Yeah, that scene doesn't count though.
It doesn't count though. Oh well,
I don't want to talk about this movie anymore. Adam, what do you have, man?
Damn. There's been a few. There's been a few. I'm trying to remember all besides Batman.
The worst.
Oh man, the worst. Ben-Hur was pretty bad.
I heard that movie. You actually saw that? Sure.
Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, this just. Like I see where they were going with adding the special effects up, but the story was so bad it doesn't even compare, and that's what really made it bad. Maybe if I didn't see the original source material, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I could go with this. But since I seen the original, I was a fan of the original, and then to see this remake, I mean, that's up there with as bad as the Independence Day sequel, which is also bad. I watched that too. Yeah, man. I was like,
resurgence.
Yeah, those are some 2 bad ones,
By the way, I have a runner-up because I saw this at a screening. I never saw the original. The Conjuring 2 was fucking trash, man.
I heard people like it.
It was bad. The ending was.
You don't like ghost movies to begin with, so
yeah. But this was especially bad because again, I don't care. It's a shitty movie. If I'm just going to spoil it for you, who cares? At the end of the day, they're running away from a possessed little kid. I'm like, hit him over the head. It's a fucking kid. Are you kidding me? Dumb movie.
To be fair, Tony, to that film is that there's actually a bit more than that. Like, it's not just the possessed kid that's the problem. It's like what is possessing the kid.
But it's still the shit little kid. Hit him over the head. That's it. You're done. It's a fucking kid.
What if he has powers?
He didn't have any extra powers or anything. He was just a shitty kid.
So he wasn't like the kid from Fear.
No.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
So here's I'm just gonna close on this, okay? Since
Carl's always has to fucking defend Batman versus Superman.
If you say, and it's a point that I kind of give to you. If you say Batman versus Superman is the most disappointing movie of the year,
for me,
yeah.
Seriously,
I would give you that. I would give you that point.
Yeah.
But worst?
Really? Okay, do I need to remind all of you that this is the year that Ghostbusters came out?
Ooh,
Hey, my daughter
probably
loves
would've
that
won
movie.
easily.
Okay,
Yeah,
Brett.
we're talking about movies that we've seen personally. I'm pretty sure if we've all seen Ghostbusters, that would have won hands down.
I have
I saw it. It was bad, but I mean, it
not
was worse.
that bad. Like, it was bad, yes, but not that bad.
I don't know, Brian. You like that Ninja Turtles movie, so I don't know if I trust you right
Oh,
now.
Yeah,
shit.
No.
there was no
It was
stipulation.
worse
of
than
how
that,
to
Tony.
this
Don't
movie.
get me
It was
wrong.
just what is the worst movie of 2016, and that
Yeah,
is
and-
definitely Ghostbusters.
Oh, you know, yeah, but the thing is, I haven't seen Ghostbusters, but
I don't need to see it. And see, that's the thing. Normally, I don't feel that way. I have seen plenty. I have
yeah,
seen
you know what?
more
If we're
than
gonna,
enough. I
okay,
have a whole film's worth
Yeah.
of outrage simply from looking into the movie.
Because
Yeah,
you've seen
yeah,
the
because,
previous
you know,
ones.
I-
But
I-
let's say
you know-
you've never seen any Ghostbuster, and this is it. This is the only Ghostbuster movie
Oh
you've
my
ever
God.
seen.
I feel
then it
sorry
might be
for them.
passable. Then it might be passable. But you were talking to a guy who has like, I have a whole slew of Ghostbuster toys right over here. I have 2 backpacks. I have the trap. I have 2 cases full of toys. I have pictures of me in my fucking Ghostbuster onesie. I went as Egon for 3 years in a row.
Well,
This
Brett,
movie-
you know what, Brett? You need to move aside and give the little girls a chance now.
Yeah, apparently, because the franchise that I fucking supported through the entirety of my childhood. Oh, fucking excuse me for wanting to still love it.
Yeah, that's the
Well,
bullshit
you know,
thing
here,
people say, by the
listen,
way.
you again, you don't need to count it now because now they've officially renamed it "Answer the Call."
Yeah. If we're gonna just talk objectively, that'll probably just win. It has to be worse than Batman versus Superman. You know?
No,
A lot of people say it's just a mediocre movie, and that's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
even.
got a dance number in it.
Well, it was different though. He was controlling them and he was making fun and saying, "Look, I can make them do anything. In fact, let's dance." And then they were doing it. That was it.
Man, fuck that movie. All right, I'm moving on. This whole topic's gonna be
They vaporize ghosts. They don't catch them.
they just like
Okay.
Batman killing people, right?
They had
Like,
different
does,
guns.
does anybody understand the implications of
Yeah,
that?
you're not supposed to vaporize.
You are ending an
after them.
eternity. That is
Yeah.
far worse than murder.
Oh, good. Brian, last thing, finish it off, please.
Okay, first of all, Ghostbusters was not that bad. It was bad, yes, but not that bad. Okay.
And neither was, you know what?
Yeah,
It was better. It was
Carlos?
better than both Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad. That's what you're telling me?
Probably so.
Wow. No,
Probably.
we're not. No, we have to disagree on that. That movie has to be worse than those, man.
See, and that's what I thought, but no, actually came out not being angry. Like compared to, like Batman v Superman, I was mad. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like this is literally just bullshit. Whereas Ghostbusters, it was like, okay, you know what? I understand what they're trying to do. They failed, but at least it wasn't offensive.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because
I'm
you're-
pretty
because
sure-
you-
I'm pretty sure
Superman
they-
is just offensive. And yes,
I'm pretty sure guys like me, me and Brett, and Manny that are hardcore Ghostbusters fans probably see that and get very fucking offended by that shit.
I know,
But
I'm
you're not seeing
already
the big
very
picture.
offended.
You're not seeing the
Yes,
big
I'm
picture.
offended by the
It
fucking
brought in a whole other audience. You know, my little daughter and all her little girlfriends, they all loved it because they're like, look, little female Ghostbusters. She would call them. She has the boy Ghostbuster movies that she likes, and she says she likes the girl Ghostbuster movies.
You know what, Tony?
What?
They did a blue ocean strategy there.
Oh no.
No, they absolutely did, and it pisses me off for just the same reasons.
Yeah, it's nonsense. Like, I'm gonna end it off with this. If they wanted real diversity in that fucking movie, you would have had 2 males, 2 females. There's your diversity, but no. Dumb. All right,
No,
let's move
you
on.
would have had 2 males, one in a wheelchair, and an Asian chick in
And
there.
a fucking monkey too, just cause. You know, remember Ghostbusters? Remember that shit? the stupid Manny. What's the name of that? one?
Ghostbusters Extreme,
Filmation.
that show was awesome.
Yeah, that one.
Filmation.
They had a fucking monkey, man. All right, that's diversity. All right.
Word, I actually did not say what my disappointing film was, or the worst.
Worst?
film.
Worse than Batman versus Superman?
Worse than Batman versus Superman
There are actually 2 that are tied.
and Ghostbusters. I need to hear this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I'm like
right.
Brian, you're already on the grind. You have to go down to hell right now to get worse. Like what
Yeah. There are 2 that are tied. Like you guys will not believe me, but it's Civil War and Rogue One.
Civil War? Okay, he's trolling. He's
Yeah.
He's
Next
trolling.
topic, man.
Yeah, next time.
And there we go. We all leave feeling very happy, man.
He's trolling right now. That's fucking Brian from the evil universe, man. Where's your goatee, Brian? Let me see that shit.
He probably has one.
I actually don't. I'm not a fan of it.
All right, next up here.
Whoa. Like,
damn it, bro. We got to move on. There's a million more questions, man.
I want to make sure there's no legitimacy to this. I'm like,
he's lying. He's lying. Brian saw Civil War a million times already. And earlier, before we started recording, he said he liked, Rogue One. He's lying.
Don't mess with me, Brian. I don't know what's real anymore.
Brian's about to fight.
There's a Rogue One question coming, so
yeah, I can't answer this question though because I haven't seen it.
Just to clarify,
Me
that was a
neither.
complete joke. Like, I really like Civil War and they're pretty much the best films of like the year. Like, no question.
Yeah,
That
easily.
was, like, I literally just said that just to like get like a laugh and also make people happy and smile.
Nope.
Instead, you threw me into existential crisis. Thanks, Brian.
I'm sorry, Brett.
I was
Right.
like, oh shit, am I in the darkest timeline again?
All right. The next question here is I can't answer this one. Was The Force Awakens better than Rogue One?
No.
no.
We're gonna leave it at that because we don't want to get into any spoilers.
Probably
Obviously.
not.
I'll go ahead and say I think it was the opposite.
They're both good movies. The Force Awakens takes too much from other movies, and actually, The Force Awakens focuses more on the characters than it does on the actual overall story.
Yeah.
While Rogue One does the opposite. It focuses more on the story rather than the characters.
All right. Again,
Also,
I don't. Brett last
we're
thing because
not
I really don't want to
spoiling.
get into it. Yeah.
We're not spoiling. Calm down.
All right, just making sure because people are going to be down our throats.
Yeah, no, I'm not spoiling. Also, Rogue One seems to fill in a lot of the little gaps better, and I realize that's because the nature of the movie is a filler. But it's really cool to see, like, everybody knows, like, the Death Star is in this movie and Darth Vader is in this movie. Like, so it's really cool to see the evolution of how it goes from the movies that we've already seen and it bridges with the original movies. Whereas The Force Awakens, like, you're not really like, it still leaves so many questions, like, who is Snoke and what is Starkiller Base and all of these questions that I'm sure we'll get.
They pulled him. You see, I knew it.
happened?
I knew it. Disney
pulled
said
him.
he's saying too much, and
They pulled him. Okay.
they pulled him. They pulled him.
All right, let's move on here. Damn, so many questions. Where am I? Okay. What anime did you enjoy this year? Carlos, I'm looking at you, man.
So this year, like, a lot of people are down on this year, but like spread out throughout the whole year, it's had some good stuff. So there's one called Erased, which came out earlier in the year. That's pretty good. It's about a guy in his late 20s that doesn't know what to do with his life, and it's kind of like a murder mystery, and there's time travel. So I'll just leave it at that. RE0, which is like the most hyped anime of this year.
Resident Evil Zero? What?
No, RE0.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
That one's good. Mob Psycho 100, which is like from the same creator of One Punch Man. Man, that's pretty good. Like the animation style, and it looks so good. What else came out this year? Oh, Haikyuu, like it's like a sports anime. It's based on volleyball. It's the 3rd season, but it's like probably one of the best seasons in sports anime.
Are they
you can
all
watch.
subtitled, or are there some dubbed?
I think most of those are. Well, all of them are subtitled, but I don't know if there are any
Because
dubbed.
it's like
out
I'm
yet.
trying to read and then see everything at the same time, and it just throws me off because I want to know. 'Cause
Tony
they're,
has that same problem.
They're screaming at each other, like, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then like, and I can't.
I'm really used to it, so I don't have that issue. Like I could see both of them. Like anime never, like what anime does, like they never, like they usually have the same frame up for for an extended period of time, so you get a chance to look at the image and read the text below. Like
I mean, now
usually,
we can pause it. Now it's like it's different. I can just pause. Boop.
oh yeah,
and
but
go
that
through
would just.
it just like
But like usually, like when someone's talking to someone else, you don't need to see the animation of their lips moving. You know what I mean? So you get a grasp of what's on the picture, and you read the text. And usually when there's like much more things you need to pay attention to is like when it's more action oriented. And in that case, there's not that much text to begin with. So yeah. Oh, and go watch My Hero Academia. It's like a superhero show, kind of like One Punch Man, but different. And it's
like Tiger and Bunny.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. My Hero Academia, that's really good. Oh,
yeah, anybody else? I don't have any. I didn't see any new anime this year.
Nope, not me either. Well, I did watch that one show with that CG show. They're supposed to be making a new one on Netflix.
Knights of Sidonia?
No, the other one with the weird spirit they have inside of them. I can't remember it.
Seven Deadly Sins?
No, it's a CG show. It's not. I can't remember it.
All right, I'm pretty sure we can move on because
we're not gonna sit here and make me remember that.
All right. Next up here, final stage boss finally shows up. All right. This is a simple one. What are your thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Pro controller? I like it, man. Like I could play this shit for days and it doesn't actually run out, you know?
I still use my anniversary one. I took the other one out of the box and I threw it in a corner. I don't care.
The anniversary one is good too, though. That lasts a long time, you know? I interchange it. When one runs out of batteries, I switch over to the other one. I like it. It feels exactly the same. There's no really difference there, but I know it's supposed to be more sturdy. But I like it. It's definitely an improvement over the DualShock 4 for sure. At least for battery life. It lasts and lasts and lasts, like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, the form factor and the layout didn't have to change.
Yeah,
the battery was the only issue that we had with that controller, with the original DualShock 4 controller.
I mean, they should have an option to turn off the damn light bar, though. Why can't I just turn the shit off? If I'm never going to use that feature, then just let me turn it off.
Yeah, it's stupid. I don't know why they don't just do that. All right, next up here, because we don't really need to go much into controller. We talked about that before. Valagus, he has a very... I guess could be considered as a fanboy question. Okay, is it true that if I want to play current gen games, I should buy a PS4 Pro, and if I want to play last gen games, I should buy an Xbox One?
You can play current gen games on both.
Well, yeah, but depending. I mean, yeah, you could do both, but then you would have to pay if you're doing a rental system. But on the Xbox, if you already own a bunch of those games, and if they're on the backward compatibility list, then you don't have to pay and you can play them. So
you're talking about in terms of backwards?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking he's talking about. Like when it comes to like getting a new system, you know, which one to go with. You just go with what you really want to do. If you're still stuck on, let's say, playing Red Dead and other older games, you know, and you don't want to have to rebuy them, then yeah, just go ahead, get an Xbox. It's backward compatible, and you can play those games, and then whatever new stuff comes out on top of that. You know, if not, then you don't need to get it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this dude already made his choice. You know, we don't need to. Yeah, go ahead.
The answer is clear. Like, if you want to play games that you already own, then get an Xbox. If you want to repay for remasters, then get the PlayStation. Simple as.
That's pretty much.
They'll charge you for the same shit twice, or even 3 times if you want them to.
And you'll like it.
I know this type of question.
Yeah, I know what's going on here. All right. His last question is, this is a funny one. What would you all do if you ran into someone who talks shit online in real life?
So I have to intervene real quick.
Yeah.
With this, like, and this is like my answer. It would be different depending on when you asked me this question. Because if you think about it, in the early stages of the internet, like, you just say, I knocked the shit out of them. But now these days, hell no, I don't want to get arrested. Shit's too PC now, man. You can't.
Shit, now there's cyberbanging. You heard about that?
You can't just like, okay, this motherfucker's talk shit, I'm gonna pop him in his jaw. Yeah, you do that, you're gonna go to jail. You know.
No, but have you heard about this whole cyber banging? Like they're
Cyber
posting-
banging, what they fucking
cyber banging.
going
They're
on,
like posting, yeah, look it up. I mean, they did this whole documentary about it. It's like how like gang members are threatening other gang members online and showing like sending Snapchat pictures of them on their turf, showing pictures of their family and where they're walking and stuff. And it's like the police are putting this, police are putting this together because they're seeing some of these people get killed. And then people online saying, "Oh, we all knew who did it. How do you know?" Well, this guy's been stalking the other guy online for the longest, saying he was going to kill him.
You know what's cool about that? Like, I know that it's a bad situation, but these guys aren't smart enough to to delete the geotags from their pictures.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's a big deal, and
I'll be honest, man.
there's even emojis.
Yeah.
There's emojis showing when they're gonna kill someone when they take a picture, and then they put a little picture of a gun with like a sad face next to it. Then that means that I'm gonna get you. And now the rest of the gangs are watching because they're waiting for that murder to take place. It's so crazy.
I don't. To be honest, I probably would just like I would talk to them because I know they're not gonna do anything. You know, I would want them to do something. Yeah, please hit the crippled guy. Let's see what happens. Actually, you know what? I may actually try to see what happens, get a reaction out of them because either way, I win. Right?
Did you ever have somebody say they want to do something?
Well, yeah, I get threats all the time, but I'm talking about in real life. No one has ever said.
But that's what I'm saying. Did they ever say, "I'm gonna come after you in real life," or "Where do you live? I'm coming over"? Or something?
Oh yeah, I get that shit. I'm like, yo, I live in Palmanock. Let's go. I can't lose in this situation. Think about it, right? Somebody comes talking shit, right? They either fuck me up, they're gonna look stupid because they just beat up a guy in a wheelchair, or I fuck them up and a guy in a wheelchair fucked them up. I can't lose unless they kill me, but whatever, you know. Then that still proves my point if I die. Xbox guys are crazy.
Oh
shit!
Come on, you don't know PlayStation guy's gonna kill me.
It's gonna be a guy with a Mario hat. He's gonna get to you. Talk that shit.
You talking to me this way? I poisoned you with a mushroom.
I would confront him. I'm like, hey, you talked all that shit. What's up? Let's have it out right now. Not with fisticuffs. Let's talk. Let's see what happens. And I guarantee you they're gonna back up a bunch of bitches online, man. I guarantee you that shit. But yeah, in my position, I don't feel like I could lose, so I'm gonna be brash as hell just cause. Yeah, man. All right, Manny, what would you do if you met an online shit talker in real life?
Well, first of all, they wouldn't talk no shit to me.
Oh, yeah, because you're too fucking big. They'd probably be
too fucking big. They'd be like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, I'm like, "I'm doing well," and they'll walk the other way.
Manny has avoided because Manny's a pretty like passive dude, right? But they look at this man. That's it. It's over.
Yo, man, 6'2", 250 pounds. How much do you weigh, little man?
Shit.
Dude, how many times have I seen you in school? These little fucking gangbang dudes, right? Talking shit to you. You just look at them, and then they just walk away. They never
walk away because they know. Listen, I'm very passive, but if you get me pissed off enough, I'll smash your face in.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so yeah, Carlos,
that's my New Yorker talking.
Yeah, man. Don't fuck with us, son. Carlos, what would you really do though? Because you say you're not gonna do violence. What would you do then? Like if you met him in real life,
Me?
Well,
no, Carlos.
I'd probably, I don't know, because like physically, I would more than like the odds are I would be more physically imposing than them, so I'd try to scare them, and verbally I'm much more eloquent with words than most people generally, so it's kind of like let's see what kind of way you try to beat me, yeah, so I probably would just like talk shit back to him. You're like, all right, man, back your shit up.
You better get ready to die. Ready to die.
Yes.
And if it goes to blows, man, they'll go first, and then I'll defend myself.
That's it, man. Yeah, because if something happens with the cops, you go, hey, they struck first, man. I just defended myself.
Yep.
And then Carlos, act as white as you possibly can, too, son. I'm telling you, man.
I don't know why they came over to me.
I was just here enjoying my day, and he came and accosted me. Oh,
I came here to play Magic at the Gathering with my friends. They came out of nowhere and struck me.
Officer, I don't understand why he hit me. I was just enjoying my day. It's such a wonderful day out here.
They'd be like, yo, you ain't white. You Hispanic.
Do you guys have different white people in New York?
No, we're just doing a stereotype.
Yeah, we're doing a stereotype.
Yeah, the stereotype
white guy. Yeah, Carlos is not from New York. He was doing the same fucking.
I was like, yeah, you guys do realize the stereotype of the white guy is like really fucking angry, right?
Yeah, no, they're really angry. Yeah, I'm just doing the stereotypical nerdy white guy, you know. No, the angry white guy, that's the dude you don't want to fuck with, man. Those scary motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
I don't know, man. Like if you put a really like angry black dude in front of me or angry white guy, I'm gonna be more scared of the white guy. Oh man, because I don't know, I don't understand that type of anger, you know. Anyway, I'm being stupid now. Brett, I already know you probably fuck some shit up, man, because you're a brawler.
I'll make a motherfucker eat his teeth.
See, Brett is the kind of guy he wishes somebody would start something.
Oh god, at this point I do. And here's the key to it. Like, I don't really care about cops, and I don't really care about winning a fight or losing a fight. I'm just gonna break something. Like, I'm gonna hear the satisfaction of something snap and like that like delicious, like wet kind of crunch. Like, I will deliver pain unto you.
Yeah,
I will.
I'm gonna say this, Brett. You're at a time where you don't care. So
oh no, I've always been this
incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, especially.
No, but Brett has told me stories, man. When he was a kid, he was doing shit like that. This man went into detail, explained to me when you should punch a person to snap their jaw. Like, this man has experience.
Oh yeah, I'll give you all this little bit of information.
That's why I don't fuck with white people. They're crazy.
If you know you're gonna get into a fight, especially as a skinny dude like me, like, you know that point which like the fight is gonna happen. Like, somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna go out and kick your ass because you're a fag or what have you. Say the most violent, out of the world thing you can think of. Like, just be as ridiculous as possible. Just like, imagine your balls are made of like 50 pounds of steel. Like, I'm gonna rip your spine out through your asshole, and then wait for the guy to like, and usually he'll have friends around. Wait for the guy to go, oh. You know, usually they'll tilt their head, they'll drop their arms out to the side, and they'll make some kind of noise. Sometimes they'll even look back at their friend. And that is the point where you punch them square in the fucking jaw. And if you can get their teeth to click, it sends a shockwave up through their brain, which immediately blacks them out. If that doesn't work, punch them in the fucking ear. Have you ever been punched in the fucking ear? You will not be able to do anything for about 30 seconds. So you have about a good
palm. You don't even have to punch. Just palm.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Like, I've gotten, like, everybody always goes into a fight assuming. So especially if you're the skinnier guy, like, man, I've thrown up Irish boxing before. People assume that as soon as you put up the dukes like this, you don't know how to fight. And the thing that people don't realize is that when you're fighting old Irish boxing style, you're not swinging from the shoulders. You're not broadcasting your movement. You just jump straight to the person, punch them in the fucking nose, and then come up and click their jaw, and then just fucking rack into them 5 or 6 times. Because you got to remember, you have a 30-second window before their friends come in. So you got to land 1, 2, 3 good hits, hit them with a bar stool, and they get the fuck out of the way before everybody gets thrown out. And then you need to make sure you're gone so that they don't meet up with you in the parking lot, unless you got an equal number of friends. There's rules to this shit.
I love it.
Have you guys ever seen a fighter named Uriah Faber?
I know the name. I know the name.
He's like 5'6". He's in the UFC. He wrote a book, and he talks about this. He's a small little guy, 5'6", fighting 8 guys. You just got to look that up. Find it on YouTube. It's crazy. But yeah,
Right,
5'6" guy beating up 8 guys.
What about you, man?
What, me?
Yeah, online shit talker.
Let him go. Let's do it. I don't care.
New York, son. Let's go.
I don't care. I won't even talk back.
I will pursue a fight. Like I know, like, you guys were like, all right, come on, talk shit. Like, I would immediately, like, get off the train, power walk over to somebody, like, I heard you were talking shit. What's up? Come on, let's do something about it. And I will press an argument until you either, like, try to, like, I've done this too. Like, you can come out and just out aggressive people. Be like, no, I heard you talk shit. I heard you. No. I'm not letting you backtrack out of this one. Come on, go ahead. You said this. Go ahead and fucking stand up to it. Go ahead. You said this. Say it to my goddamn face. Say it to my goddamn face and then substantiate it. Otherwise, we got a fucking problem. And real quick, people will be like, oh, I need to get out of it. They'll just want to get out of the situation. And that's when you stop them. And that's when they get really uncomfortable. And the second they start to get violent, oh, you get violent back.
See, but that's preparing it. That's build up. No build up. If someone said, "All right, I'm saying all this shit, I'm talking all this shit," then just go up and get them. I remember the best is my brother. He's the one. My stepbrother told me this, and after that, it just stuck with me. He was in school one day. He was always getting suspended, and he was in class. And you know, in most classrooms, you have that 4-square window, to the classroom. And a guy looked in and pointed to him, made it 3 o'clock, and did this, right? So then he walked away. My brother didn't wait. He got up, opened up the door, attacked the guy in the hallway, just started beating him.
See, that's exactly
No, why am I going to wait for him on his terms when he's gonna have his buddies whatever at 3 o'clock after school to kick my ass? And he just beat him up. He said, if someone says something like that or says anything, I'm gonna kick you out. I'm gonna beat your ass after school. Just get him right there. Just get him. Don't even talk.
I did that once. I went across 3 desk chairs because somebody in my middle school was fucking coming to me like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass after school, bro. Like, I fucking pulled off my coat, threw it down, kicked over a chair, and Supermaned over 3 desks at that motherfucker.
Yes, he wasn't expecting that shit.
Nobody was expecting that shit.
Yes, motherfuckers. All right,
I think I hit him with a chair too.
good man. I like Brett, man. Very violent. Reminds me of me when I was a kid, man. When I was a kid, I didn't give a fuck. You know how many fights I got into in elementary school? I didn't give a shit. Good times.
I've only been.
I stopped doing that when somebody pulled a knife on me. I'm like, oh, okay.
I've only been in one fight, and I literally ended it really quick because this was the only kid that was bigger than me.
Uh-oh.
So I went for the easy shot. I whacked him in the balls, and then literally after that, I ran over to one of the teachers. I'm like, that guy tried to beat the shit out of me. That guy got in trouble because I didn't have a bad record. Man, I remember in elementary school, this will be actually Brian still has to go, but this one kid, he was talking shit about me for months, and he's like, okay, we're gonna fight. I'm like, I guess we're gonna fight now, but it's just still me. I'm little, but it's still like, listen, I don't have time for this shit. Let's set some rules. First person that bleeds fucking loses, right? So he thought I was joking. He's like, as soon as he turned, popped him in his fucking nose, blood came, and then he started, we started to go after me. Then all my buddies grabbed like, no, bitch, you just lost the fucking fight. It's over, I was very sad. And then of course Tony has Tony is also in a fucking wheelchair. That shit he's got a bunch of weapons on that thing. Like the bars come right off. You can whack somebody else.
If I don't really watch my sweat, I will knock you at the fuck out, And back then I didn't give a fuck, Man, but yeah, nowadays I would just instigate because I know they're not gonna do nothing, I would, because again, I don't feel like I got anything to lose, All right, Brian, what about you, man? What would you do if somebody? What if Brian Monjuma came after you?
I'd invite him for some drinks. I wouldn't fight.
You'd invite him over for tea.
Yeah, and then poison his tea.
Yes.
I'm gonna get my hands dirty.
He's sophisticated,
I like how that answer started with I'm gonna turn the other cheek before I murder him.
Yeah. I like how the Americans over here going, yeah, we're gonna fuck this dude up. We're gonna fuck him up. The British guy's like, no, I'm gonna turn the other cheek and then poison him. So I'm not gonna sully my hands.
I'm going to choose the supervillain route.
Of course.
Yeah.
With iocane powder.
Brilliant. All right, moving on here. Che Fergus, which may be the first female we got asking us a question. This is awesome. All right.
Didn't she ask a question early on in the show?
No, she posted earlier in the show, and Tony was remarking that he didn't know if it was a female or male.
Yeah.
No, but I'm pretty sure that we answered her question. Oh, she had a question.
I said we're gonna answer it later. Remember, first come, first serve. Now we're finally at that point. Because to be honest, I see her portrait. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here. Like, if this is because I was like, okay, should I be attracted to this person? Because it's like they're either a very good looking man or a girl with short hair. I can't tell with that little picture. I'm glad it was a woman. Oh my God, imagine that.
Then you would have found out something very interesting about yourself, Tony.
Yeah.
It's not misogyny. It's just a little gay scare. Don't worry about it, folks.
Yeah, a little bit, right? But apparently my chick dar is on point because I was like, I find this person attractive, but I'm not sure. Imagine that shit.
Something new has been added.
You almost made Tony have to ask some really difficult questions.
Yes. I was going to disappoint my mom.
No mas.
Oh, man. My mom's old school, man. She don't play that shit. All right. Let's go. So, will Mario Run explode like Pokemon Go? No.
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 It'll explode in the opposite direction. Falling apart.
Nintendo's face.
Yeah,
Hell
no,
no.
yeah.
Pokemon Go only exploded because Nintendo accidentally almost gave people what they've been asking for over a decade.
And it
Well,
wasn't
the,
even
the good thing
Nintendo.
is that Nintendo did not make that game.
Yeah, that's the funny part.
That's the Pokemon
Yeah, that's why I
company.
said. That's why I said accidentally. They're
Yeah.
like, oh no, oh, woof, woof.
No,
we
it's-
almost fulfilled millions of people's dreams. We
No,
better
no,
back
no.
off on that.
It was Nintendo didn't even sign off on it. It was all because you got to remember the Pokemon company is a totally different company outside of Nintendo.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that was the problem. A lot of people were like, oh, this Mario game, that's their second Nintendo game. No, it's not. It's their first.
First. Well, actually, no. The Miitomo was their
Miitomo.
first.
Yeah, Mario Go is a fucking endless runner. $10 too. That shit ain't gonna last.
Let me add that they don't tell you how much the damn thing is because they have what they call the the free part of the game, right? But they don't tell you on the actual Apple website or the iStore website how much the game actually costs. It has in-app purchases that they don't tell you initially what it costs.
Man.
And it costs more than most endless runners or any other games.
Yeah, the game's totally not worth that, but Nintendo, right? All right, so yeah, that shit's not gonna.
Oh, and it's always online.
Yeah, that too. The DRM shit, it's always spying on you too,
I posted a fun little picture not long ago, which was essentially the line. It's like Big Brother is watching you, and it's this famous shot from 1984. But I swapped it out with a black and white drawing of Mario.
All right,
I'm watching you.
Next question from Mr. John Bond. All right, would you guys? This is a very good question too. Would you guys with PCs be strictly PC gamers if PlayStation would put all their games on PC like Microsoft? Dude, I already said I'm like, yo, if I could get all my PlayStation games on PC, that's a wrap.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's what I'm doing with my Xbox. I would definitely do it on there.
Yeah, because it's already happened with my Xbox. I don't use Xbox anymore because I play all the games on PC. If Sony had all their games on PC, that's it. PlayStation sold. I'm done. PC gamer strictly. That'd be, imagine Uncharted and on fucking PC. How sick that would be. Forget about it, man.
On my PC.
On my PC.
On my PC. Did he ever get that PC?
He's still working on War 4 fucking Titans. This guy's insane. It's like, my man, you only need one. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Adam, I guess we both answered. What about you, Carlos?
Yep, same thing. And I did and like you guys, I did it with Microsoft. I played Gears and Forza Horizon 3 on the PC.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Brian?
Yep. Why would I not? That's the question.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Okay, I have a PC that's good enough to run these games, a good frame rate, good resolution, good level of detail. Why would I not use it to play these games where they aren't the same? And also they'll probably be cheaper as well. So it's
yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll have to deal with a proprietary store like what Microsoft does, but it's a small price to pay. That's what I say.
What people don't understand too is that gaming on the PC is much more convenient when it comes to multitasking and for example, I'm doing something for my job in my PC, right? And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. So let me start gaming. So I just minimize the window, double click on the icon, and then I'm playing. Cause and also my TV went down last week. That's another story. And so I moved my PS4 Pro and I connected it to one of my monitors on my PC desk. And I'm freaking I'm fishing right now, playing what's it called? Final Fantasy, man, getting my level up, and I'm doing this. And I can still read the chat, so it's sick multitasking.
That's crazy. All right, Brett, what about you, man?
No.
Why is that?
Oh man, ton of reasons. First of all, I think it's beneficial to have a closed-off proprietary system. that avoids things like cheating. Like I said, it's a wasteland doing anything multiplayer on PC because people have access to the files and they can fully mod them and edit them and whatever, and nobody checks it. So you don't have a fair gaming experience, not just in the sense that some people are running different hardware, some people are experiencing lag, some people are, all of these different variants, but then on top of it, some people are just they're running their game better, or they're using cheats or aimbots or something else like that. Also, every time I install a PC game, like I always need to fidget with it for a little while. And PC, like it's I feel like it's unreliable. Even right now, like my Windows Explorer keeps freezing. Like there's something wrong with my PC. And unless you have somebody who's good at fixing it, like I used to have Rachel, I don't have her anymore. I don't honestly know what to do other than like try and figure out if it's a hardware problem, like maybe one of my RAM sticks is going bad. But for the most part, I'm probably just going to have to wipe my PC after moving everything that I need to keep to an external hard drive, because I know that's a ham-fisted approach, but boot and nuke is about the only thing I know how to do. So a lot of times when a game won't start because it's crashing or because of a driver error or because of something else, there's PC game always takes a little while to get to run right. And even then, like sometimes you have the choice of like, well, do I want it to look good or do I want it to run good? It's just there's so many variables, and that's honestly not even the big deal of it. The big deal of it is for the most part, I would agree with all of you, except for the fact that both Rachel and I found in practice that wasn't the case. We had Skyrim for both PCs and the PlayStation, and we both just kind of gravitated back towards the PlayStation. It was just something about having a living room set up and playing it on the sticks. It felt better. It didn't feel like the same game on a mouse and keyboard. And unless you have a living room PC set up, it just wasn't the same. Like sitting at your PC playing was not the same as chilling out in the living room with the sticks. It just wasn't the same experience. So normally I would agree with you, but I've been put in that position several times and I've been like, it's not the same. I want to go back. I want to sit on the couch. I want the controller in my hand.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up.
I would
because
still use a controller. I wouldn't go to.
Yeah, that's the main reason I've been able to like successfully become a PC gamer, because it's not different than playing, in front of my TV with a controller, because my PC is literally right next to my TV, right? So it works. So if I was in your position, I would actually agree with you completely. It's like, listen, man, like, yes, I understand that I could put everything on PC, but if I have to go to a whole other room, mouse and keyboard, I wouldn't even deal with that shit. But the fact that I was able to replicate the console experience on PC, that's why I'm able to say, you know what, I would rather have all my games on this system. But yeah, if I had to go somewhere else, mouse and keyboard, I wouldn't touch that shit.
Well, even if you made a media PC, right now I have Rachel's old PC hooked up to the TV. I haven't had the heart to turn it on, but it's eventually going to be a media PC where I can just plug a controller into it and play it like it were a Steam box. But yeah, even then you run into all the other problems that I talked about. Installing the game, getting it to run stably, optimizing the game. And then even if you do that, like only your single player experience is the thing that's really going to benefit from that. Like all of the things, like everyone's like, oh, mods are great. Mods are not great in multiplayer games because everybody has to have the same mods. It fractures the gaming community. It makes the game bog down and run in ways that it didn't before. You lose performance. It becomes this weird, like when you're playing a multiplayer game with mods on it, like you end up trying to find these weird hosted servers, and then you have to deal with admins. It's just a fucking nightmare 90% of the time, because even if somebody's not cheating, somebody's abusing some kind of power, or somebody's hosting their own kind of server, or you can't get the mods to match up, or something freezes. Even people who play Skyrim on PC will attest to the fact that they probably spend more times downloading, organizing, and building their load order of their mods than they actually do spend playing the game. It falls almost more into a hobbyist thing. So there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into PC gaming, and I might change my mind if Steam implemented like I said, some kind of like gold mode or something like that, where you had to opt in and it could check your files and update them and do everything automatically. For all of its issues, the games on consoles run really quite stably compared to PC games.
Yeah, and also another thing, none of us actually, no, Adam, you could talk about this. Isn't it better to have a console for kids and stuff.
I mean, if the kid's interested, right now they're all into mobile. You know, they're not even thinking about it.
But
So,
that's true. But I would think like a console would be better for like a kid, you know?
I tried, and I'll keep trying. But even I have other friends that have kids a little older, and they're not really too into it. It's all about because they also go along with what their friends are doing.
Yeah.
Their friends have mobile games that they're playing on their tablets, or if they do have a phone, you know, that's what they're doing it on. So it's like you can try to introduce them to a 3DS or something, and they might think it's cool, but when they go with their little friends and their friends are like, "Well, I got this on my tablet," this one, like, okay, then I shouldn't be using this thing with buttons and sticks. I mean, that might be phasing out when it comes to these portables.
That's scary right there, son. All right, let's just move because we've been.
What are you talking about? You missing me.
Oh, what about Manny? You're not a PC gamer like that though.
I'm not a PC gamer.
But hypothetically, would you do it?
No. and the reason why is because I spend 90% of my time on this fucking thing, and I don't ever want to see it when I want to play some games. So that's
you want to be in the living room, not the workspace. I want to be
sitting on my couch, and even I would say if I were able to hypothetically do the sort of have the station or whatever inside of like some sort of media station in there. To be honest, I can't really afford more than one computer. I have my work computer and start buying more computers for gaming. I might as well just buy a console that costs less.
Makes sense.
I think the idea.
I'm more interested. I mean, granted, I can play Xbox One games on my current PC, but I'm more interested in getting an Xbox than actually, bothering to play it on my PC.
I think the idea, Manny, there would be that you're, at least with me, like my work PC is my work PC for the most part. I'd like to have two PCs, or I've always wanted to have two PCs because my work PC doesn't necessarily need upgraded. It runs its imaging programs fine. It just needs maintained. Now to have another PC where every year or two I could put $150 in to keep it up to the current gen and have that be the gaming PC, then I could see it, because then you're still only upgrading one PC and then you're maintaining another one. So again, you run into the high launch costs. But like if you're talking now, if you were doing this now, I would say like, yeah, you could buy a console now, but then you're going to buy another console in another couple of years when it comes out. I might honestly tell you that we're far enough in the console cycle that you would save money by buying and upgrading a PC versus buying, a PlayStation Pro now and then a PlayStation 5 when it comes out. Because each cycle we get to that point. So I don't even know that price necessarily goes into it, but I absolutely agree with plus there's the ease of use. Like, isn't it nice to just sit down, turn on your PlayStation and play a game?
No, you're right, because with PC you got to fiddle a little bit. Even if it's minimal, you still got to fiddle a little bit. You can't just turn it on, go. But I think that's
it depends. I mean, I use my NVIDIA experience and I just click on a game and it just goes.
I was just about to say, it's like I must be doing something wrong because I just download the game and it just plays.
I've had a couple of games like that.
I barely fiddle with like most of my games. Like
for me, it's I have to set up the speakers to go on my TV, and then have to set up the screen to go on my TV. So that's what I mean by a little bit of fiddling,
But that's not fiddling with the game or anything. That's
no. It's that's the thing. Like Brett, you were talking about you have to like install shit. Like installing drivers.
I know. I gotta mess with stuff because I run AMD. I'm sorry. I don't want to shell out the money for fucking NVIDIA and the program that can just autopilot itself.
Yeah, because Brett, I'm literally like here, like NVIDIA. Just hit optimize it. I'm done.
But even then, I mean, like there was that one stupid the side-scrolling zombie game that came out for Xbox that they released on Steam.
Oh yeah, that was
Deadlight.
Yeah.
Man, that fucking game for some reason runs crazy slow. Even on like okay, it runs better since I have a better video card, but I mean, it's just a fucking side scroller. Why the fuck is that game running like shit? Metal Gear runs fine.
It's not optimized well, man.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of shit, but but again, for me, the reason I was able to do it is because I pretty much made it a console experience. If I had to do all that other nonsense, I wouldn't be bothering with that either. All right, and the very last question here from Mr. West from the Hard Knock Gamers podcast. Okay, this is a funny one. Who writes better stories, DC or Marvel?
Marvel. Next.
No, see, this is a trick question. If you were to ask me this 10 years ago, I would say Marvel without a doubt. Nowadays, DC without question. Marvel has like they've dumbed down their stories so much to cater to everybody that they've lost sight of what these fucking superheroes are supposed to be. Changing the genders of all these heroes, changing the identities. They've diluted their brand so much it's not even recognizable. And then you read the books, they're passable, but there's no like that energy you want to feel when you read comics. Not there. DC, on the other hand, they got their shit together, listen to fans, and they brought back the real DC universe, and it is exciting. You read every week. I'm always hyped up for a DC book. So Marvel is like, whatever, So yeah, and as far as comics goes, DC's murdering fucking Marvel right now. It's not even close,
I mean, when it really comes down to comic books, then it's everything. Almost all the series out in Image. Love those series. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all comics. But
if you're talking about the Marvel between Marvel and DC,
we're talking about all comics. I think Valiant murders both of these guys. But yeah, just Marvel and DC comics now. Yeah, Marvel without it. Marvel. Yeah, again, 5 years, even 5 years ago, I would have said they're better than DC. Now, nope, DC kills them.
Well, Marvel's definitely got an agenda recently.
Yeah, that's the problem. And here's the problem. But when you read the books, the agenda is not even hidden. It's just in your face,
Well, it's not that it's not hidden. It's referring back to this the ancient Margaret Cho whatever thing.
That's
one of the one of the interesting things I saw in the email was and I forget that, was it Charlize Theron, or am I just pulling names out of my ass?
Tilda Swinton, right?
Tilda Swinton, there we go.
Yeah.
She was mentioning how when Margaret Cho was saying that basically the ancient was an old Tibetan man that they're whitewashing, she was saying it was weird to find herself on the wrong side of this argument, because especially seeing Marvel make this movie about how they wanted to play the diversity card on the ancient and change it from being like an old Tibetan man stereotype to this young person, and the fact that they changed a couple characters too, like the black guy, I guess, was a white guy. But the way that she was talking about it was that Marvel very intentionally had all of these boxes that they want to check, like diversity here, diversity here, diversity here. They're intentionally flipping characters to fill quotas. And the way that she mentioned it seemed very artificial and systematic to me. And I found that very telling, that it wasn't that we feel like the story would be better told this way. It's that we have a diversity quota, so let's go ahead and flip this character, and this character.
Yeah, see, and you shouldn't do shit like that, You have to let it happen naturally. Like DC's actually doing a pretty good job of diversity too, but it feels natural, you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that character just so happens to be, a different color or whatever, but it's not like it doesn't feel like they're checking, hitting those checkpoints like Marvel does. You read these books like, okay, I see what they're doing here, And again, diversity is good. We need it, but DC's doing it way better than Marvel. They're not
as far as the diversity thing goes. I mean, the problem is like, and I've always said this about the Marvel books, is that rather than make new characters that have new names and new identities, you literally everybody's playing cosplay as somebody else. You know what? I'll tell you the reason why Miles Morales works better in his own Spider-Man universe than being one of 20 Spider-Men inside of the normal universe.
Yeah.
That's the one reason why I even took the book Mosaic, because it's like, okay, we're getting to do a new character, new black character, not black character cosplay black character. Why does Falcon have to be Captain America? Why can't he be fucking Falcon?
Yeah.
That is my biggest issue with a lot of the books. It's like, okay, we have an all new Avengers. I mean, back in the day when they used to do this shit, people used to call it out right away. Be like, no. What are you doing? You're just doing this to get readership, and they're doing it again. It's the only difference is nowadays people are like, oh, this is so great.
Yeah, but my problem, not to get too much into it, but it's like,
Why can't Riri be her own Iron character, not fucking Iron Man?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's Iron Heart now. At least they gave us that. She's not fucking Iron Man. You're a girl. You can't be Iron Man. It doesn't work. You know. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, Marvel. Yeah, they're behind DC for sure. All right. So. Okay, this was the last Throwdown Your Questions of the year, so we gave you an extra long episode. So hope you guys all enjoyed that. So we will be back on January 8th, 2017 at 10:30 p.m. with Throwdown Your Questions 115. So just do us a favor, wait until regular Throwdown drops to leave us your questions, because if you just leave us questions now, they're going to be outdated. You know, no one's going to really care about those questions, you know, so don't ask us stuff while we're on break, because those questions are, just going to be outdated. And on our returning shows, both of them, Riku is going to be joining us. He specifically wants to be on, and for you who don't know Riku's son, Michael, he was one of the originators of Throwdown. The door is always open for this man. I don't know why he asked back, Tony, is it okay if I come? I'm like, dude, just come on.
Just show up.
Yeah. Riku literally needs to go to me, Tony, I'm coming on Throwdown. I'm like, cool, let's go.
Let's do this.
Like, that man really has an open door. So he wants to talk about some gaming stuff,
He's the Throwdown original. That's what he is.
Yeah, man. There were 3 of us, but we don't talk about that other guy anymore, even though he talks about us all the time. Jeez, and Hard Jess too, shout out to her. But not that other guy. She's been in school, man. She's been busy, Okay. And Throwdown Your Questions, January 8th. Throwdown 115, January 5th. I don't really feel like going over the thank yous. We did that already. But yeah, thank you guys for supporting the show, all that good jazz. Throwdown's gonna be bigger and stronger next year, kicking more ass, taking more names, talking more shit. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so let's wrap this up. So thank you, and thank you for watching and listening. Leave us the questions in the comment section on the Coalition on YouTube so you can answer them 2 weeks from now, people. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to the Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Have a happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Carlos Romero.
Later, everyone. Happy holidays.
Brett Murdoch.
It's been real, folks. Have a good year.
Adam Vale.
Yep. Have a good year. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
And come on.
What? Want to talk about my lucha? God damn. It's like, I think I leave that to the regular show, but God, everybody knows. Just New Year, just jump on. I'm telling you, go on YouTube. Just watch some Lucha Underground. Get your grandma or grandpa. Get everybody around. But like, look at this. It's life changing. Enjoy it. Play Titanfall 2. That makes me happy. That'll make you happy. Grandma, I'm sure, will like it too. Running on the walls. The future is here. And then that's it. Have fun.
Nice. And Brian Manjoma.
Happy New Year. No, shit. Merry New Year. That's the one. That covers both.
There you go. All right, people. We'll see you next time. Later.
Later.
Cheers.